And that's right. Welcome to House Jack City's Backstage Sports Edition. I'm your host, Rob Eggers. This is episode 6. And the man, the myth, the legend, the brother from another mother, Roy Herman. What's going on, brother? How we doing, man?
What's going on,
massive
brother?
episode today, don't we?
Oh, yeah. It's going to be epic, man. We got a lot to talk about.
We got a lot to talk about. You know, this is a surprise impromptu show as well because we've been talking about this all season long. We're in episode 6. We talked about this since episode 1 when Darian was on our show. And shout out to Darian Walker, by the way. He'll be on later down the line. He's just really busy
What up, D?
doing what he's doing right now. So shout out to Darian, doing great things right now. We, as you can see,
Can I give a shout out to my T-shirt?
Go ahead, man. Give a shout out. Let's do it.
I always like to show my T-shirts. You know, it's been Powerhouse Gyms and different other venues. Today, the theme is Pink Floyd. I only think it's fitting since one of our topics later on is going to be a little bit about some mental health, and that's chilling out and relaxing and having fun, right?
And this is why we like talking about our themes. And right now, you know, we had a solar eclipse that occurred, which obviously, you know, all depending on what you believe in, can cause a lot of mental effects to humans and animals, which can cause a huge ripple effect, in my opinion, when it comes to your mental health. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. That's in hour number 2. We got a 1 full hour episode of that. Obviously, Roy, we had WrestleMania 40 that just occurred, and everyone's talking about it. Probably one of the best WrestleManias of all time. Cody Rhodes is your new Universal Heavyweight WWE champion. So whatever form you want to put that in, because everyone's been screwing that up anyways. You know, 1,316-day reign for Roman Reigns. So let's give a little clap round of applause for him for, you know, carrying the company for pretty much 4 years, ladies and gentlemen.
And the guy's got leukemia. It's in remission, thankfully.
Yes, and we want to make that perfectly clear because there's been reports out there that he is retiring due to this, and it's not goodbye, I don't think. It's just he needs some time off. Seth Rollins needs some time off. So we're going to talk a lot about that. So stay tuned for that for all your wrestling fans, because we're starting out with that today, not ending the show today with that. We're ending the show with, once again, our mental health special, like we talked about. It's an impromptu 1 hour special, maybe a little less, maybe a little bit more, but we're going to put a lot of time into this. So if you're more into this mental health portion of this show, go ahead and take your finger and scroll all the way to hour number 2, because that's what we're going to be talking about.
But don't scroll. We want you to stick around for the whole show.
Of course. But, you know, we keep it open for everybody. If they don't want to listen to the crap that we're talking about right now, which is not crap, but some people do think it's crap, you know, go ahead and fast forward it. But also, we're gonna segue into Coach Dunn, because Roy, you might have a little surprise for our audience and a special thing what Coach Dunn did. So save that teaser for later, because Roy got a care package from good old Coach Paul Dunn. So thank you for that, Coach Dunny. It's been a great episode. And by the way, with that episode said, that is our most viewed episode so far. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen, that are watching good old House Jack City Backstage Sports Edition with us, Roy and Rob, because we are here for you, and that we are excited to start this show off. So, Roy, with that said, we have a freaking 2 hour packed show, and let's start right off with WrestleMania 40. We had the opportunity to watch WrestleMania 40. We're big, huge WrestleMania fans. We've watched it since the pretty much the beginning in the 80s, and here in 2024, I think, as they say, we're in a new era. What was your thoughts on WrestleMania 40? Let's start out with night 1 going into night 2, because I have some grades for you.
So Triple H, in his own words, said, and it may be controversial, but he said it was the greatest WrestleMania ever. Of course, any statement like that is debatable. It looks like it's the first one under his watch now since Vince McMahon is gone. So, of course, he's going to say that, right? Anybody's going to want to, you know, when you take something over, put your own stamp on it. But I will say this, it was epic. It really was. The story is over. The storytelling was phenomenal.
Yes.
From night 1 to night 2 to all the way up. We go back to Chicago a few weeks ago when the final boss, The Rock, beat down Cody. So he did it perfect to make you think that Cody was down and out and over, and the deck was stacked, and they saved the best, of course, for night two. Right? We knew that was going to happen, but night one was good because they had to do what they had to do, and that's the bloodline had to get the advantage there. They had to do that to make you think, okay, it's not looking good for Cody. All right. And then night two, Cody is victorious. And it's a feel good story for the whole world, for a man who was released from the WWE,
Right.
wasn't taken
Want to go start a
serious,
new company,
went to start a new company. You know,
AEW.
it's a great story of don't give up when th- everything looks bleak. And there was no other company when he was released other than, Impact, which is very small, indie. But for a man who's a Rhodes and his dad getting released from WWE, that had to really hurt bad. He could have just went in a lot of different directions. He could have turned to substance abuse. He could have turned to drugs. He could have become very depressed. He could have just gave up. But he and I want to give a shout out to Brandy Rhodes' wife, because she seems very supportive. I don't know her personally, but every time that I see this man, I see her right by his side. AEW, and then of course on WrestleMania night she came out with him. She seems like a very, very, very supportive woman, very strong woman, supportive woman. And I think he's very lucky to have her. And I want to give her props in this journey too.
Absolutely. And there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that if you guys haven't seen it yet, obviously follow WWE and check out their behind the scenes moments. That's what we're all about, right? Behind the scenes, backstage. We love going backstage. And let's take a look at these numbers really quick. And this is brought to you by WWE and what they have what they publicized, the biggest WrestleMania, Raw, and SmackDown gates ever. And that basically means the turnstiles. Everyone coming through the turnstiles that bought a ticket. So let's make sure that's perfectly clear. Not talking about VIPs and any of that stuff backstage. These are the turnstile tickets at the gate and how many came in. And this is phenomenal under the Triple H regime. And the most viewed WrestleMania ever, most social WrestleMania ever for social media. They're trending worldwide. Number one, highest WrestleMania merchandise sales ever. You cannot say anything more for Triple H's first WrestleMania with all the trials and tribulations that WWE was was having to deal with Vince McMahon, Laurinaitis, all those scumbags. With the whole sexual crap
They're
that's
gone.
out there, right? They're
They're
gone.
gone. And
They're
their
gone.
storytelling was bad. It was outdated.
Oh,
Let's
horrible. I
let's just
mean,
say what it was. I mean,
yeah.
Vince started it up. He did what he did. He did a great job. Let's not say he didn't do a great job with his vision in the beginning, but over time, he stayed stubborn that this is the way it's been. This is the way it's always been. You have to evolve. You have to open up your mind, and you can't have yes men around you. You have to have people that challenge you, that say, no, that idea is not good. And here's the reason why. And you have to put your feelings aside, and you have to be open to the constructive criticism. He was not. And
Mm-hmm.
it just became an adult playground for him. And, narcissistic behavior, which is not tolerated. Um, and he just thought he was above the law. He thought he was above everybody else. And ultimately, that ego, it cost him. And good riddance. But
Good
Triple H
riddance.
did a phenomenal job. I also want to highlight Shawn Michaels because, and we'll
Oh,
talk later.
NXT. Let's talk NXT.
It's a tease for mental health, but you have to
Yeah,
surround yourself with good people. And
right.
Shawn Michaels has been his ride or die from day one. They're great friends from back from the Click, and Shawn is there in NXT, so he's got good people in place. Shawn Michaels is a Christian man. There's no secret about that. So having Shawn Michaels there at his side and having his people around him, that is going to help Triple H be successful. And I know Shawn and him knowing each other, just like you and I, we have known each other for such a long time that we could tell each other what we need to tell each other. We're not going to take offense to it. If I'm off the rails or you're off the rails, we're going to call each other out.
Well, and
I'm
that's
just
how
going
it
to
should
say it.
be.
Right.
That's how it should be because we have to have each other's back. That's what brothers are for, and that's
Exactly.
what Triple H and Shawn Michaels have been. I mean, shit, going all the way back to, the, breaking the kayfabe wall when,
Yeah.
Scott Hall and Kevin Nash were heading over to WCW,
Yep.
and they knew about it, and they broke
Yep.
that kayfabe wall and pissed off Vince McMahon to no other, and basically punishing Triple H from the King of the Ring. He was supposed to win that, and look what happened.
And
Stone
see, that
Cold
was
Steve Austin was born.
innovative. That was
Mhm,
innovative. They were ahead of their time.
mhm.
That's stuff today that is big that everybody wants. Break that wall. Break it.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
see, Vince was too narrow-minded back then to have exploited that and gone with it. We love that, man. Give us more of that.
Absolutely. And, I just want to say a little bit about um, another record that's broken. And you got to give The Rock, the final boss, a lot of credit for what he's
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
Coming back and kicking off the WrestleMania season and having that press conference and TKO taking over and showing you what they are going to do in revolutionizing professional wrestling. And it's just making, and I hate to say this because I was all about AEW in the beginning. And when it's the same product over and over and over again, and they call Tony Khan a fanboy booker, he's not technically a good professional wrestling booker. He is a fan. So you're getting a different product over at AEW than you're getting over at World Wrestling Entertainment because I tell you right now, WWE has their mindset. They're more established. They have more, obviously, look, man, they're the king of professional wrestling. You cannot take that away from them. They are number one in the world. And what they're going to be doing here in the future for I believe it's Backlash, they're going to be going to France. So they're hitting every different level. I know they were at France before for house shows, but I think this is the first ever uh, PLE that they're going to be doing over in France. So that's exciting stuff. And I'm not going to take away from what AEW has, but AEW doesn't have this, the largest domestic gate in Monday Night Raw history. You can't say that for Dynamite. They had over 20,000 people over there at Roy, where you had your um, rehearsal at for the 76ers, Wells Fargo
You
Center.
auditioned. I was in
So,
that building, man. I was in
yes,
that building.
and look at this picture. This picture says a lot of words here. And this is obviously a photo at WWE. So thank you for the photo here. This is the largest domestic gate in Monday Night Raw history, over 20,000 fans. And what do you see in this picture, Roy? I see a lot more signs than I do cell phones. And this gives you a sign, no pun intended, that the Attitude Era is back.
That's how it was back in the day, and it's good to see it back. You know what? I got a couple points I want to make. Ari Emanuel, right, who's in charge of TKO, I love his vision that he's staying out of it, right? He's running the business end of it, but he's staying out of the creative. He's letting Triple H run it. And he is a smart businessman. He didn't get to where he was without being smart. He saw a product, he bought the product, he merged it with UFC under that umbrella, and he's putting good people in place. Dana White, see him for UFC, and Triple H to run the product, the subject matter experts. Maybe Tony Khan just might need to take a page out of his playbook because when AEW got off the ground, Cody Rhodes and Chris Jericho played a big part in running the creative and bookings and a lot of that success was due to them. So we got to give Cody Rhodes his and that might be a second career for him when he is done in the ring, that maybe he himself one day could succeed Triple H or join the group with Shawn Michaels and help with the booking. And I think that's something AEW needs to go back to. That's because in 2019 they were a phenomenon, and that was Chris
Right.
Jericho and that was Cody Rhodes doing it. The more Tony Khan started touching it and getting his hands dirty, like you
And the
said, the
Young Bucks.
fanboy
The Young
and the
Bucks
Young
touching it
Bucks,
too. Yeah.
you just take a step back, Tony. Take a step back. Let
Right.
your guys that are close to the action, like Jericho, let them run it
Exactly,
and,
and
or
that's
book it,
why
I should say.
yeah, and, and let's not forget, and I wanna stick on Cody Rhodes here for a second because this story has literally been so emotional for a lot of people out there, and we all know it's scripted, right? But don't forget, if it and today's Wednesday, April 10th, so everyone knows that today, Wednesday, April 10th, the WWE is releasing the whole behind the scenes story. And since we are a backstage show, I highly recommend you check this out on WWE's Peacock and YouTube page. They're going to go behind the scenes and tell you how this all started with the story of Cody Rhodes. It's going to be amazing. They're going to be talking about some things that um, they've never discussed before about this, and it's going to break the fourth wall again. So I highly recommend checking that out. I don't know the title of it,
Absolutely.
but make sure you check it out because it's going to tell you the whole story of the Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, Dusty Rhodes, the whole Rhodes family, and how Dusty Rhodes has been the icon of this industry for developmental purposes and making people believe in themselves, including Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch is part of this story. Seth Rollins, everyone that you saw in that ring. If you really want to go here, I'm going to go solo on this so people can focus on what I'm about to say. If you pay attention to what the WWE did when Cody Rhodes won the title, it all started with Samantha Irvin, which did a great job. Some people can say she screams too much. Some people can say this. This girl takes it from the heart, and she is very, very talented, and I give her mad respect. She there's some that she can fix, but in a lot of ways, when she started crying and couldn't get her words out for Cody Rhodes when he won, that's an iconic moment. And on Monday Night Raw, Cody Rhodes did have her say it again, just to kind of give the true feel of what she was supposed to say and how to say it. But how can you hold back those emotions? I'm going on YouTube, Roy, and I'm watching some of these behind the scenes after the 3 count, after the 3 crossroads that he gave to Roman Reigns. And it's just funny in the beginning of that match how he's saying Roman Reigns used his own move on him. He used the crossroads on him. He said, "It's a weak move. You can't beat me on that." He just gave away the ending, which is pretty cool. But with that said, just the emotion from the beginning to end. I mean, it choked me up a little bit. And granted, it's the storytelling that's compelling in professional wrestling. If you know what you're getting yourself into with professional wrestling and you follow the story and you wear your heart on the sleeve, it's going to touch you right here. And the Cody Rhodes story touches me right here. And finding out that his brother was in the arena, but in a suite because he couldn't be in the ring with them because of AEW contract, I think is bullshit. Tony Khan should have just been like, you know what, that's your brother. This is Dusty Rhodes. Like, go in there and celebrate with your brother. I'm talking about Gold Dust, good old Gold Dust. Um, Dustin Rhodes. So um, that right there, Roy, to me is something that will always stay in my heart as a wrestling fan at the age of almost 42, knowing that this was the best night two, by the way, night two, the best WrestleMania I've ever witnessed. And it even goes back to the beginning with the Drew McIntyre story and CM Punk. Talk about that storytelling. There's so much storytelling going on right now in the WWE. Sami Zayn taking the ring of Gunther. 666 days. I hate that fucking number, but hey, they did it. They did it on purpose. He's an evil man. That's why they said, let's end his reign there. Sami Zayn, congratulations on beating that. You deserve it, especially after last year's compelling storytelling with the bloodline. Sami Zayn does deserve the IC championship, and I think he's going to do a great job carrying that because him and Chad Gable are going to have a banger of a match coming up soon. So, with that said, too, I want to show you this, Roy, because obviously it took place in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I'm an Eagles fan, go Birds. And these two guys decided to show up during the match with Rey Mysterio and Lane Johnson and Jason Kelsey there. Lane Johnson left, Jason Kelsey on the right there in between Triple H. Those guys are big men. And Lane Johnson here on the left, he actually worked out with Seth Rollins. They have a behind the scenes doc on that with them working out. And Seth Rollins said he he got his ass kicked from Lane Johnson. But these guys came in just kind of showing that Jason Kelsey, the rumor is true, Roy, that they are looking to get into wrestling. And I
Oh,
know that Jason
I'm not
Kelsey had fun.
surprised. Heck
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, the
Mhm.
Kelsey name is huge right now. And go with it, 100%. I want to make a couple other points so real quick before I forget. For people who say, okay, wrestling's fake, because I know there's the generation out there that says it's fake, and why do you guys waste your time and you watch this stuff? It's not okay. Let me use Tom Cruise as an example or Sylvester Stallone. Sylvester Stallone, a lot of his Rocky movies took real punches. In fact, he took a punch one time to the chest that he's told the story numerous times that put him in the ICU. That could have killed him. Okay. Tom Cruise does his own stunts. These are stunt men making movies. Basically, they're out there. They're getting real kicks. They're getting falls, or as we call them, bumps in the industry. That stuff hurts and it's real. Okay. The only thing is that the ending of the movie, or we don't know the ending of the movie, but the showrunners know the ending of the movie. That's it. These guys aren't fighting for a like UFC where you go or boxing where you're going all out to, physically, destroy your opponent so you win, and then it's like, oh my god, we didn't know who won here. But these are like stuntmen in movies. Why do you go to the movie theater? Why do you watch movies? To be entertained. It's the same
Correct.
concept. It's the
Good
same
good
concept.
point on this,
So
Roy.
let's
Glad you bring
remove the
this up.
stigma of that it's fake. You guys think it's real, right? Or why are you guys watching this fake stuff where he's fake? Okay, you don't want to hurt your opponent. You want to protect your opponent. But a lot of those slaps you hear, psh, that's real. The guy falls and hits the mat. That's real. And you think that's padding under there? It's not. It's hard. There's plywood under there. Hit the rope. Some of those guys, when they tell the story, they hit the rope and they come out. There's steel cables in that rope. It takes
Mhm.
its toll on your body. That's why, unfortunately, a lot of the people over the years have been addicted to painkillers and certain situations. That's the dark side of wrestling. The point of the matter is, why do you go to the movie? Does everybody go to the movie and watch a movie or Netflix or whatever your streaming platform is to be entertained, right? Well,
Correct.
movies are fake, aren't they? But you still like them, don't you? Regardless of what age you are, everybody loves movies. Everybody loves storytelling. That's exactly what wrestling is. And so I
And
just want
that's
to get that clear. I want to get that out of the way. So the jokes of you guys are, you're in your 40s now, you're still watching wrestling. Yeah, well, why are you guys watching movies? You're in your whatever age you are. Why are you still
that's what I'm
watching
talking
movies?
about. And that's what I'm talking about. See, everyone has the right to their opinion,
I had to
and
get
that's
that out.
why oh, dude, love it because you make a great point. And I always hear people like these dumbass people that go out there and just purposely are evasive to people that love what they love. If it makes you happy and it's
If it
harmless,
makes you happy.
happy. That's right. And if it makes you happy, then make sure that you keep doing what makes you happy. And that's going to be a part of our mental health part that I want to talk about
Absolutely,
in the future.
man.
Because you know what? Don't let anyone justify or try to use you as um, this. Hold on. Don't let anybody ever try to use you as one of these to control you. You understand? These buttons right here, this is for you. You control
Oh,
yourself.
yeah.
Don't let
Oh,
anyone
yeah.
else tell you what
Yeah.
to do. Okay?
Yes.
Because without you, believing in your own self, and we're going to talk more of that about that coming up in about 35 minutes, is that you're going to have to just love yourself. And if you don't, then others are going to justify that for you anyway. So if you're a professional
Oh,
wrestling
man.
fan, if you are a professional
Yes.
wrestling fan, hear me out. If you're a professional wrestling fan, all right, bring it in. If you're a professional wrestling fan and you love it and it makes you happy and you love WrestleMania 40, you're going to take those two birds like Stone Cold Steve Austin. You're going to take two bears, you're going to crush those together, and you're going to give everyone else a hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
That's right. So if you're a professional wrestling fan, give me a hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. And another hell yeah I want to talk about because this was cool, a little botchy, and I know you probably are going to agree with me, Roy. These two guys right here, R Truth and the Miz. Awesome Truth finally won tag gold. How long is it going to take? I don't know, but Monday Night Raw and we'll have a few more minutes on the wrestling segment. Monday Night Raw was amazing to me. Just the WrestleMania after the Raw after WrestleMania is always a good one because it changes the whole storyline. It's a new season.
Sets you
Um,
up for season the
yeah,
next part. Yeah.
correct. And the new era we're in could be Attitude Era 2.0. I mean, there's other names, the Renaissance era. They're calling it. They're calling a lot of calling it a lot of things. But if people like our age, Roy, that have grown up, and that's why that picture I showed you earlier with all the signs that are showing and less phones, those are people that are our age, all right, in their 40s and early 50s, even or late 30s. These are the people that want this back. And they said it best. How cool is it to be a professional wrestling fan right now? How cool is it? It
It's
is
it
so
feels
fucking
great
cool.
again. And let me
Yeah.
make another point too, because you have the solar eclipse in your screenshot there.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tom Skilling, who's a legend, by the way, who just
Mhm.
retired from WGN Channel 9. I'm going to give him his props.
God
But he
bless him. Absolutely.
came back to
Mhm.
Chicago for April 8th to cover the eclipse. And one of
Mhm.
the things on his segment they said is, folks, put down the camera and just watch this.
And enjoy it.
Just enjoy it. Take it in,
Yeah.
soak it in, be in the present. And this will,
Yeah.
again, a teaser for our mental health.
Mhm.
Stay in the present. Stay in the present. There'll be plenty of videos, there'll be plenty of pictures online that you could go back and watch. A moment is a moment in time. You can never get that back. So if you're living through your phone or videoing it, and then you're going to sit there and watch it for the next 10 or 20 years, and then what? Take it in live, let the professionals video it or take the pictures, and then you could sit on your couch for the next 20 years
Right.
and watch it like that.
Right.
Just people
Take your
learn
time.
to stay in the moment. And
Mhm.
that's what I love with the signs because you're staying in the moment instead of videoing it.
Mhm.
Take it in. And
Right.
I love when this is an old school trick, by the way. If you saw, when you saw The Rock and Cody, they looked to the side like this
Oh yeah. I'm
and they
glad
look
you
at
said
each
that. I'm
other
glad you said that.
and then they look to
And
the side.
and
And,
don't forget.
Hogan and The Rock did that when they did their WrestleMania. That's an old school. Acknowledge the crowd, stop,
Yeah. Yep.
and let them react.
And this is what I want to bring up. I'm glad you brought that up because
Good.
this is a good
Go.
way to segue. First and foremost, I want to bring this up because this was very emotional. And then I want to bring up the ending of WrestleMania 40 Night 2 because it was the best main event of all time, hands down. I was excited. I was nostalgic. I felt I felt like I was back in the Attitude Era, and it was fucking awesome. So, with this said, here's something that I would love for y'all to watch if you haven't watched it yet. If you're a wrestling fan, go to Peacock and watch the Bray Wyatt becoming immortal. This hit the heart, and it really goes behind the scenes on why Bray Wyatt had to take time away, and it wasn't necessarily a contract issue. It was more of frustration and his health, and so on and so forth. And his brother in there, Tyler. Is you Tyler or Taylor? Taylor, I believe. So I apologize on that. I'm so bad with names, but he goes by Bo
All right.
Dallas, and
Don't
it does
apologize.
show,
Don't
and it does,
apologize.
and it does show exactly how strong that family is, and how what an awesome father and an awesome creative mind that Bray Wyatt is. You can even call him the Einstein if you want on the creative side of things as a professional wrestler and a father. And there's a lot I did not know about this man. And Wyndham Rotunda, obviously, is his real name. His father, IRS, Mike Rotunda.
Oh,
Um,
you
and
just gave me some I didn't even know.
yeah, and
And
there's a
I'm a
lot of things.
wrestling fan.
And hey, see, Roy. There's one thing I can say.
Mike Rotunda.
Wrestling is my strong point when it comes to an encyclopedia. Roy has an encyclopedia for everything, but and he has to put that now in his page. Roy, put that in
It's
page
there.
740-5, row A.
It's
Okay, put
already in
that one in
there.
there. All right,
It's
cool.
in there.
Plant
It's
that one
done.
because
It's in there.
that's exactly where it needs to be. And I tell you right now, it was just emotional to see Mike Rotunda, IRS, because I grew up watching him in the funny era, right? The what do they call the cartoon era? I mean, there's many eras of it, but I call it the cartoon era.
The 80s.
Um,
Yeah, it was the
yeah,
cartoon era.
cartoon era. Eat your
That's why
vitamins, brother. Yeah.
That's why they did the cartoon. If you're old enough to remember the Saturday morning cartoons, they did a
Mhm.
rock and wrestling with all them. in cartoons. And here, you want a
Here's an
nugget?
encyclopedia.
You gave
Yeah,
me a nugget on Mike Rotunda, right? You ready?
let's hear it.
Who did the voice of Hulk Hogan on that Saturday morning cartoon?
Oh boy, Ultimate Warrior.
No. So you remember the
IRS.
show Everybody Loves Raymond?
Yeah.
Who played the brother? Brad
Oh,
Garrett.
no
Brad
way.
Garrett was the
Chicago man, by
voice
the way.
of Hulk Hogan in that cartoon. Bam!
That's awesome, dude. Look at that. You pulled that one out your ass. I love it. So, with that said, I want to talk. So let's talk about the main event really quick. It's our podcast. There's really no overtime, just like we did with Coach Dunn. Shout out to Coach Dunn again, because we were before we segue into MLB, we are going to talk about Dunny and what he's done. So I'm sure you have that stuff ready to go, Roy, because we're going to read that note he sent you too. I'm giving away a lot of spoilers right now, but whatever. Here's the thing: main event, WrestleMania 40. Nostalgia. Roy, was it predictable or not really predictable? I think there was one thing that I was missing, and it was the glass breaking. If the glass broke, that place would have turned upside down, as it already did. You saw John Cena. Well, first you saw Jey Uso coming in. Then you saw Seth Rollins dressed up in the Shield. He said to Cody, "I will be your Shield." I
I
thought it was
loved
John
it.
Moxley, aka Dean Ambrose. I thought he was coming back. That would have everyone thought that too, and that would have been sick, right? All of
Maybe
a
they're
sudden.
saving that. They're saving it. They don't
And
want
all of
to
a sudden,
give it
the
all.
bong happens. Dong. My heart dropped to my ball sack. All right. I literally felt that energy just flow through me. And I just hearing that loud ass pop was amazing. And by the way, speaking of the pop, let's just be real. For people that were mentioning that the Philly crowd sucks and they're not into it from night one, you need to kind of focus back and understand the science between an arena and a stadium, an open roof stadium, okay? Because sound travels differently, and they were popping. All right, so you had over 70,000 fans there each night. They were popping. So a night two, you can definitely tell, and even the Wells Fargo Arena for Monday Night Raw, you can tell with 20,000 people in that arena, that place was popping. Philadelphia, Chicago, New York, hands down the best wrestling fans in the nation. But with that said, The Undertaker choke slamming the final boss, The Rock, was amazing. If you saw a freeze frame when The Rock was up in the air, his face like that, absolutely hilarious. Gets dropped. Seth Rollins comes in the ring. He's pulling himself up on the ropes. Roman Reigns had the chair. And you want to talk about fantastic storytelling, Roy? Going back 10 years ago when Seth Rollins decided to turn on Roman Reigns and hit him in the back with a chair, Roman never forgot. And you want to talk about how the story was written? He hits him in the back. He could have hit Cody Rhodes to win and retain and continue on his reign as the best Universal Heavyweight Champion of all time, but instead made that wrong decision. Everyone's out. Jey Uso took Jimmy through a table off the stage and really hurt himself, by the way. That's a bad fall. And then, Seth's out. Roman was distracted. 3 crossroads later, 1, 2, 3 emotions, new champion. Everyone comes in the ring once again. You had Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, LA Knight, CM Punk. And I mean, it's going to everyone that faced Roman, right? And it was just a great moment, just seeing everyone in there, his family, his wife. I mean, the trials and tribulations going from AEW to the sledgehammer of trolling Triple H in AEW, basically a shot at the WWE, to now being the face of the company and the face of the new era. You can't get any better than that. We've witnessed history, ladies and gentlemen. I can't be more excited enough about how WrestleMania 40 ended. It is an A plus for me. Night one was a C plus. This was an A plus, and that's the bottom line because Rob Ager said so. And Roy, any final thoughts of WrestleMania 40 and maybe even the Raw after WrestleMania?
So, one of the things in life is they say you can't go home again. Yes, you can. And for all people out there who think that I might have burned a bridge, or, companies or employers that say, when somebody leaves, they can't come back. I think that's wrong. Everybody deserves a second chance in life, and everybody has gifts and talents, and everybody matures along the way. They might have been they weren't at a certain level at a certain point. But to write somebody off and say that's it is wrong. When there's money to be made and there's a way to be successful, you put your grudges aside and you bring the talent in and you make money and you have success. So kudos to Triple H again, bringing Cody back. The Undertaker shocked me because I thought for sure it was going to be
Oh, for
Stone
sure.
Cold. So I hope to hear more, some behind the scenes stories. If maybe somebody can get a hold of Stone Cold and find out, was he contacted? Was he considered? Was that not even an option at all? Does he want to come back at some point? I'd love to know if he does have interest. You teased it before and you said that, he said if Ric Flair can still do it, hell, I can do it. So, I would like to hear more of that. So hopefully we could find out more on that. But like you said, the C plus, I agree. But again, you can't give it all away in one night, right? You can't give it all up. So I think the C plus, you had to be a C plus, right? You don't have an A on night one, and then you go balls to the wall, A plus 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 on night two. So keep them wanting more, keep them coming back to see, and it was a great job there all the
Yeah,
way
and
around.
I want to give a shout out because who opened up WrestleMania? I mean, that is a huge task to Rhea Ripley and Becky Lynch. I want to give them hands, a round of applause for opening the show. And,
Absolutely.
talking about mental health, Rhea Ripley, if you're listening in some way, shape, or form, if you hear this part, girl, we felt what you were going through because there was rumors in the back that she had multiple panic attacks before the show and had to be helped up. She was shaking really bad. She was nervous. She was not remembering spots, supposedly. Like she was very scared
It's brain fog.
going out there to
Brain
open
fog.
up. Exactly. And we'll talk about that here in our mental health session, which is going to be coming up here soon. So stay tuned for that here in hour number 2. But with that said, congratulations to all the performers. Congratulations to Triple H, Stephanie McMahon, everybody, Nick Khan, everybody that was a part of WrestleMania 40. And even the media, everybody from the video crew to the truck drivers to the crew that set up WrestleMania 40. Congratulations, God bless you, and what a fucking phenomenal show! And let's keep this party going for professional wrestling. So let's give a round of applause for all those people of WrestleMania 40 and everyone behind the scenes and backstage at WWE.
It only goes up from
Congratulations,
here.
and it's awesome. Only goes up from here, just like our show, baby. Only up from here. And by
Oh,
the way, guys, as you can see, I'm I'm not Roy Herman. That's Roy Herman. I'm Rob Eggers. That's Roy Herman. And make sure to follow us on all social
Pink
medias
Floyd, baby.
at HJC Media Group. And by the way, Roy, before we get into Dunny, Roy's going to be making an Instagram, ladies and gentlemen, and we're going to be going live soon to talk with you guys. Not a show based like this. We're going to go live to talk to
Can
you guys and see what y'all want to talk about. We could talk about the weather. We could talk about how many shits you took today. We can talk. No, we're not doing that. We can talk about the food you're eating. Whatever you want. You want to talk about how we suck? We don't, but that's okay. It's your opinion. Whatever you want to do.
can I break the fourth wall here for a second?
Hey, brother, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I need that. All right, let me make it clear. People will look at me. I'm sure I've been watching Cobra Kai, going back, rewatching the series, getting ready for 6 when it drops. People will look at me and say, this guy doesn't have a social media account because he is not equipped to, he's not smart enough. He's not knowledgeable enough. He's a Gen X and he doesn't know how to use social media and he's a fossil. That's bullshit. I know all about social media. I've had them all. I've had Facebook. I've had Instagram. I have Snapchat right now. Oh, wait a minute. You would think
We
this
do
guy has
send
a
we do send some
Facebook.
funny Snapchats together, so it's
You
cool. Yeah.
think this guy would be a Facebook guy and wouldn't? No, no, I don't have Facebook. I have Snapchat. Okay. So I have had them all, minus TikTok, but I've had them all. I know how they work. I'm not dumb, so don't let my age think that I'm Johnny Lawrence and I don't know what that stuff is. No, I know what it is. I choose not to have it. Why? Because it keeps me happier. It keeps me in the
Yes.
present. And this is a segue for mental health. I don't, when I see you in public, I want to have a conversation and catch up with you and it's refreshing because I don't know everything about you because I'm not reading all about you on your social media. I don't care about your opinions. I don't care about all of your stuff that might cloud me and judge you because I read something online and now I have preconceived notions. So anyway, let me just put that aside. Now, yes, back to the Instagram. It's business. It's business. So yes, it's time to bring one back because it's for the show. It's for the show.
Yes. And
It's
you
for the
know
show.
what? And I'm not putting down any platforms out there, but I think you have to kind of generate some type of, you know, basis and demographic for our audience. And I
It's for
feel
business. It's for
Instagram
business.
is more of a
Yes.
networking safe place, less drama than Facebook and Twitter X. Like we have a Twitter X page, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm going to be honest with you, we only have 3 followers, but
We're
we
gonna
don't
get
really
that going.
promote it. And
Well,
it's
we're
only
gonna
us
get it
2.
going. We're
It's
gonna
only
get it
us
going.
2. We don't have
Yeah, we're gonna get it.
any type of staff
We're
behind
mom
this
and
other
pop
than the
right
2
here.
people you see right here. So we have regular jobs that we,
We're the
you know,
CEOs, we're the COOs, we're the
yeah,
switchboard operator, we're the janitor, we're the soundboard, we're everything.
yeah,
Just us 2. And we're mom and pop, so support local businesses, and we're a local business.
that's
We're
right.
just
We
2
are.
guys from Bolingbrook, Illinois, and we've been humble, and we don't toot our own horns, but we've done a lot,
Yeah, we
and
actually
we know a
have.
lot, and
Absolutely.
we're ready to bring the Pat McAfee experience out and show the world that we belong on this stage right here.
Absolutely. And, you know, shout out to Pat McAfee too, because that man
He's a good
was
guy, man. We
a
love you,
kid.
Pat.
We love you,
If
Pat.
you're listening, Pat, dude, we love you.
We love you, brother. We
We're
love
not
you. What,
competing
what's
with
up,
you.
brother?
We just want to be right there on the same stage. There's enough room. There's enough
Absolutely.
room.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I wouldn't mind trying out some of his candies that he has. It's all good. I hear you know, he likes strawberries and berries, and I like sour apple too. So let me know if you have any of those flavors, Pat. But anyways, continuing on. That's WrestleMania for you. 42 minutes in. I want to talk before we get into mental health, Roy. We're going to talk a little bit about what Dunny did for you. We're going to do that right now. And then afterwards, we have a full segment MLB talk. And you have a story you want to talk about because of the pitching clock. And I think that's a great story that you're going to talk about. You have some great
I
analytics.
shout out fans because it's
Yeah,
all
you have
about the fans.
great analytics on this one.
John
And
Vogel, can I just sing this man's praises? John Vogel is, and I don't know how much, I'm just going to say, he is really the behind the scenes guys at Joliet Junior College. Every program has the top, the middle, the bottom, but everybody from the janitor down to whatever role is very important. There's a book called The Fred Factor. Read it, and you'll learn more about it. John Vogel, when I go out there and I do my public address announcing, John Vogel is just as important. He is probably the most important person in the press box, at the scorer's table. He is the scorekeeper. He is the statistician, and he keeps it all together. And you want to talk about analytics, that it's a young man's game? That's bullshit. Because John, I won't reveal his age, but John is an older individual. And people would think, he's a dinosaur. No, John is a stats geek. He is the guy putting all the numbers together. The officials, the referees, the coaches, they come to John, who's the oldest man on the staff there. They don't go to the younger people. The younger people are running the video. They go to John for the numbers and the stats. And I'll tell you what, John makes me who I am. He makes me look good. He's got my back. If I make a mistake or whatever, he's there to politely kind of correct me and keep me on point. But anyway, John's the baseball guy out there. John, we're going to talk about these pitching arm problems here. We think we'll tease it, but we're going to talk about why there's so many of these Tommy John surgeries. We're going to get into that, buddy. I love you, and I wanted to give you a shout out because I know you watched the show. We love our fans. We love
yeah,
them
let's
all.
give it. Hey, Roy, you have some fans out there
Matt
that
Malozzi, we love you too,
yeah.
brother.
Let's give us some shout outs to all our fans out
Tracy
there. Shout out to
Fitzgerald, we love you
Bobby
too.
Arndt, Brewster's
Bobby
Chicken
Arndt,
Baby. We love you, brother. Thanks for
he
watching the show. The
is the
man,
final
Bobby.
boss
He
of
is
the
the final
final
boss.
boss.
Now, let's talk a little bit about Bobby too, because we were talking about this off air and stuff like this, Roy. We used to do WrestleMania parties over at
At
Bobby's
his
house.
house.
Yes, and shout out
His
to his
dad.
father, his late
His
dad
dad was
Ken.
the original You want
We
to
love
talk
you,
about
Ken.
Tony Soprano, and I'm not talking about an illegal, mafia that was
Sure.
just an
No.
expression.
Just
Like we
yes,
call you the
absolutely.
Godfather.
Yes.
Ken Arndt ran one of the most. He ran the Cheers of Bolingbrook. It was called Brewster's Chicken. It
Love
was
that
the
chicken.
place to be. It was happening.
It's
If
the
you
only
were a
place I've ever
politician,
worked at for food.
if you
Brewster's
were
chicken.
a cop, if you were public works, if you were anybody who was anybody, down to just anybody, you were in that restaurant. And everybody knew everybody's name. It was the gathering place. And Bobby was the right, that's his dad. And he was right under him. And the relationships we formed, but it wasn't just Brewster's, it was Powerhouse Gym. I'm taking it back when I met Bobby and when he was in high school.
Premier Family Fitness?
And yeah, well, yeah, that was yeah, screw that. It's Powerhouse Gym.
Yes.
But that's where I met Bobby when he was just a fresh faced kid in high school. And from there, I found out that his dad owned Brewster's, and the relationship just flourished and it blossomed. But when
Right.
I was on WJJG AM 1530, did a show called The Fanatics, and I just
Mhm.
found the tape. We'll have to queue up that and play some of those bits. But him and his dad let us do a live remote from Brewster's Chicken. That was epic. That restaurant was packed, man. We had everybody in there. We did a live radio show. Joe Gentile, the late Joe Gentile, the Baron of
Man,
Barrington,
God bless him.
he was like, he didn't want us to trust us to take his equipment out and to go somewhere. He loved it. And Joe Gentile was a tough man to please. And he loved it. And he thought that was one of the most successful remotes ever. And that's
Yes.
because of Bobby and rest in peace, Ken. He's with my dad up there in heaven. I know Ken and my dad are hanging out probably. Ken's probably cooking up some chicken up there right now. And they're watching the show. My dad and Ken
That's
aren't.
you're
Roy,
damn right they
Robert
are.
Herman, and Ken aren't.
Mhm.
They're watching the show right now.
I love it.
My grandmother used to listen to the Fanatics. In fact, she was my biggest fan, and I was shocked because I didn't know this. And her and my dad's Aunt Bernice, they listened to the show every single week on the Fanatics. They were, when I that just floored me that my grandmother and my dad's aunt, they were my biggest fan on the Fanatics. So that meant a lot to me. So anyway, Bobby Arndt, man, you want to talk about the click? You want to talk about Triple H and Scott Hall
Put it
and
up, right? Put it up. Put it up there.
Bobby was right there.
Yep.
We were the three. We were Hogan, Hall, Nash. We
Nash.
were the original NWO like them. And we're going to reconnect soon.
Absolutely, we are. Get him on the show too and talk a
We're going
little
to get
bit
him on
about
the
the
show.
past. And we want to do that, guys. Fans, listen in. We got a lot of stuff coming up. And the more we get, the more shows and airtime you guys will get. And that's what we want. This is the whole thing. This is a community show. This is a
That's about
positive
the
place to
fans.
come. This is a safe environment to come. And you're going to know within the next 15, 20 minutes what mental health is all about. So, Roy, without further ado, I want to talk about
Oh,
what
and Jimmy Pellegrini's the last name I'm going to drop. My bowling partner on Sunday nights. He was the one that got me back in the bowling. If it wasn't from Jimmy Pellegrini, I'm averaging 185 right now, and I haven't bowled since 2009. Now I'm averaging
shout out to
185.
Jimmy. Jimmy, shout out to you, boss.
So
Appreciate you.
he was the one that got me back in the bowling, and that was a big help with my mental health. So
That's
thank you,
amazing.
Jimmy. All right,
All right, Jimmy.
take
All
it
right.
away,
So,
Rob. Run it.
no, we're gonna put it right back over to you, Roy. Basically, as everyone knows, and if you haven't seen it, stop this freaking podcast right now and go to the other one and watch episode 5 with our good friend, Coach Paul Dunn, former Falcons coach, former Texans and Browns coach, and he's currently with the NFL IPP. Had a pleasure working with him for 2 years. Great man, awesome stories, and he was a big hit. Roy, what did Coach Dunn do for you after the show because of how awesome he felt that you are and we are as a team and just being on the show, he just is a great man and let's go ahead and show why he's a great man, Roy. What did Coach Dunn do for you?
Well, first of all, I'm gonna push you on the how great I am, or we are an awesome product here. But you know what? This man has a good heart, and it's rare when you meet people like this because when you meet a public figure, and the stereotype of a coach is that They're hard asses, right? And they're not your friends. And they're gonna come on and they're gonna give you what they gotta say, and then they're gone. And you'd be lucky to get the time of day again ever. Or what's in it for them? They're paid, right? And that's fine. You gotta make it, it's a business. Hey, you're a talent. You want to get paid for your services. I get it. This man came on our show free, gave us his time. And that it could have just stopped there. But he said on the show, "Hey, Roy, I want to send you something after the show because knowing how big of a Jim Covert fan I am, and he had some Jim Covert memorabilia from going to the Hall of Fame ceremony. And I'm not going to lie, I thought it was just a nice little, hey, I'll send you something cool. I didn't expect him to, but he did. And not only did he send me what he said he was going to send me, but he included other items in there. What a handwritten note here. You probably can't see. There it is.
I just got to read it off, Roy.
And it's got his name. Look at
Yep.
And then it's not written. So he wrote it by hand, which makes it even more special. Kids, stop typing shit out when you send somebody. That's not from the heart. Write it. Pick up a damn pen and write it, because that means you took the time. And I want to see your handwriting. I don't care how bad you think your handwriting is, folks. Write it, because it's from here. Anybody could type up something. Write it. But look at this. It's from Paul Dunn's letterhead. You want me to read it?
Read it out. Read it out loud, Roy. If you have to paraphrase
He
it,
took the time
hey,
to
read
write
the whole
a note,
thing. And
page. Then he put in some memorabilia for me.
Let's hear it, Roy.
It was great to meet you on the podcast yesterday. You and Rob are doing a lot of great things. Keep up the good work. Next winter, if the IPP returns and Rob and I are invited back, you got to come down and join us. We will give you a bullhorn, which I'm going to make a point on the bullhorn in a minute, and make you public address announcer. Quotes. You have an unbelievable voice.
Which he does.
Yeah.
Continue.
I got to do a better job of taking a compliment. Anyway, by the way,
you're very humble, modest. Go ahead.
And then this is funny. Bothered me. Collection of pictures. I'm sorry, I'm laughing. It's called a collage, or an album, or a diorama, not diarrhea. A montage, on the other hand, or mounting. Ooh, mounting, Rob. Be careful. Or assembly. My pit education is confused. Help me out so I can help Rob. Smiley face. And then he said, "See you at the goal line, Dunny."
All right, Dunny. We're gonna make sure that everyone knows why I call it a montage. All right. So here's the definition on the screen.
So that way you're not full of diorama.
Yes. So the production of rapid succession of images in a motion picture to illustrate an associations of ideas. A literal musical artist, composer. Yes. So okay. Collage. Fine. We'll call it a collage. Love you, Dunny. But I wasn't completely off. So love you, Dunny. But
And we had an off the show remark. What did you say on the phone the other day? Bring the people in. What do we talk about on the phone? What did you compare your analogy to? Christina Aguilera?
Oh shit. Oh,
when she did that with Britney
that movie.
Spears and that.
Talk about the movie.
Yeah, they did that video.
I forgot the name of it. It's Marmalade, something Marmalade.
Yes, Lady Marmalade. It was the remake of it, and it was at the time all these pop. It was Britney, and it was and they all came in and they did it. So I had to bring that up because we were talking about that, and that was funny.
That is hilarious. So what else did Mr. Paul Dunn give you there, Roy?
So that's that. I'm going to frame this. This is going to be framed. This is going to go up in my office with some of the most important documents in my life. All right, what else? I'm going to get up for a second. Give me a second.
And while can't even talk. While Roy's getting up, getting his stuff here, I just want to let everyone know, make sure you follow us at HJC Media Group right here on the bottom here. You can't miss it. make sure you follow us because we have a lot more stuff coming up, ladies and gentlemen. We have Roy's getting an Instagram. He already said that. We're going to be going live for you guys. We're going to be chatting with you, getting ideas from you. Hell, we might even bring you on, see what you're doing. Just please don't be taking a poopy or doing other inappropriate stuff that could get us kicked off. That's all we ask. But we'll screen that shit anyways. Not a big deal. But make sure to follow us at HJC Media Group on all socials. We're going to start getting more shorts in. We're going to break down our shows. And all we're asking from you, if you love us, then follow us and share and let people know what we're about because we're doing this for you. And we're doing it for us too. I ain't gonna lie, because we need this for our mental health portion, and that's going to be a part of my session in the mental
All
health
right, I'm back
portion,
here.
which is coming on here shortly. But Roy's going to talk MLB after this, and we're going to show the rest of Mr. Dunn's present that he sent to Roy. Take it away, Roy.
So this is what he said that he would send me. First of all, so let's just start with what he told me he was going to send me. This is a towel from the Hall of Fame, the class of 2020, and he showed it on the last show. Right?
Name a couple people off there just because the camera's a little blurry. Just name a couple of the people that are on that towel.
All right. So some of the names, because it was from the class of 2020, and they had to do 2021 together because of the pandemic. Okay.
Yeah.
Some of the names, obviously Jimbo Covert, Bill Cowher, Edgerrin James, Steve Atwater, Isaac Bruce,
Good
Troy
names.
Polamalu, Jimmy Johnson, Paul Tagliabue, George Young, who was an executive for the New York Giants. And those are just a few. Oh, and Steve Sable. I got to give props out to Steve Sable because his father founded NFL Films.
That's correct. Yes.
I grew up on that.
Good call.
It was like, and then they would show like Dick Butkus making a tackle, and then they'd play the, and then he's like, on a cold day in December, the Green Bay Packers invaded Wrigley Field.
Yep.
And there was this grizzled man missing teeth, and he was growling, and his name was Dick Butkus. That was Steve Sable doing. Well, his dad started that.
Pretty good impression there, Roy. I like
it. And so the Sable family, what they did for the NFL was amazing. So I'm glad that he got inducted in. Anyway, I digress to the last thing. Well, not the last thing, but I got to see this clear bag. So when you go to stadiums now, they ask you if you bring stuff in, the legal stuff that you bring it in a see-through bag so security could see it and screen it.
Legal stuff you bring in.
So that way they don't have to like make you empty the bag and go through everything. But this is a Jim Covert bag with his number on that. Wow.
Yes.
Are you kidding me? And then it's upstairs because it's going to go on a wall. He said, put it in the bat cave, his own words. And he said, put it in the bat cave. Is that on my note there? Anyway, yes, he said it. Oh, that was in a text he sent me. The flag, he sent me a huge Chicago Bears flag, like a flag that would go up on a pole.
That's awesome. And don't you have you have a pole in the backyard, right? Don't you have a pole that you can put a flag up there?
I don't have a pole. Well,
I have a pole. And wave it.
I have a personal pole that the Lord made me with.
That's the kind of humor I'm talking about, Roy. Finally getting Roy out of his shell, baby. Bet your friends are laughing right now. Did Roy really say? Was he talking about his penis? Yes, exactly. He was.
But no, I don't have a pole in my backyard. But he specifically said put that up in the bat cave. So I got a wall here that it's going to go up. And my dad would love it, by the way.
We're on the hour, Roy, and I know we can go over, but I want you. We want to say thank you once again to Coach Dunn. I'm sure you want to say thank you as well. Coach Dunn, you're amazing. We're going to have Coach Dunn on in a future show. He's already said, hell yeah, boys, bring me on. And we're going to talk about his whole shrine that was behind him in episode 5. And once again, go watch episode 5. If you don't know what we're talking about Coach Paul Dunn. So we will have him on in the future show. James Cook is still interested. He's in town here in the United States. came back for developmental stuff for the IPP, so he's doing a hell of a job. He's busy, but we'll have him on a future show as well. So without further ado, Roy, you have a lot of MLB news to talk about. The MLB
Still
just
laughing
started.
about. We were talking about Pohl, and our general manager of the Chicago Bears is Ryan Poles. So we're
Well,
all about Poles here in Chicago.
he's a
Anyway,
pull bag right now, but let's see what he does in the draft. But anywho, Roy, take it away with the MLB so we get right into mental health after that. We don't want to rush you through this segment, but give you
no, no,
10
no.
minutes. And let's go ahead and talk about your thoughts so far on this season, some of the injuries, and you want to talk, like you said earlier, about the Johnny Tom surgery.
Well, yeah,
Tommy John surgery. Wow, I can't even talk.
John and I, we text John Vogel and I, we text every day, right? He's my baseball guy, and we go to each other every single day. It used to be my dad and I every day that would have these conversations, and John and I have these conversations now. But one of the things you're seeing in Major League Baseball right now is a plethora. Yes, I use big words. My education is vast here. But no, there's a lot of arm surgeries going on right now. A lot of every day. It started with Garrett Cole. He's having an MRI on his arm. And now Shane Bieber, the Cleveland Guardians, he's going to have Tommy John surgery. The list goes on. Spencer Strider, a UCL. The UCL, that's code for the tendon that attaches your elbow in here, hence the term Tommy John surgery, right? Because this tendon goes bad here, it gets frayed or it snaps, or it's going to snap. And so what they do then is they have to take a ligament either out of your leg, because your leg is your strongest part of your body, stronger than your arm. So that tendon out of your leg is a lot stronger here. So they put the leg tendon in your arm, or they go to a cadaver lab and they take one off of a deceased person. Okay. So anyway, so now Shane Bieber's on that list. Lucas Giolito with the Boston Red Sox. He is having that surgery. And there's a lot more people that are happening. Every day you're hearing it. Shohei Ohtani, right? The biggest star in baseball. He had it after last year. So the question remains is why are all of these pitchers like Daly, and you could read about that there. Scroll back down for a minute there. The reigning, no, go back. Go, the pit, yeah. Go up right above the pitcher's name. There's some names in there that you could read. Two-way superstar Shohei Ohtani. We mentioned reigning Cy Young Award winner Sandy Alcantara, All-Star ace Shane McClanahan, and the list goes on, right? So you could read all those names. Those are a lot of names, okay? And now scroll down a little bit. Go ahead, keep going. Oh, up. Go back up. Just a tad. Stop it right there. In the pitch clock blaming business. Okay, so we're going to pause it right there. Now you want to speed up the game of baseball, which has been going on for hundreds of years. And you're going to say, we want to make it faster. People have ADD. The young people, everybody's on their phones. They can't sit and watch a baseball game because they're on their phone, right? So now we got to put up netting, because people are getting hit in the head by a ball because they're distracted. Back then in the 90s and 80s, I took my glove to the game and I wanted the ball to come my way so I could catch it. So that's what we did. We paid attention. We lived and died on every pitch. But today, everybody's on their phone. Oh, I got hit in the head. Oh my God, it's dangerous. I'm going to sue. Well, duh. You're at a baseball game. And it's not the team's fault, and you don't sue them. So anyway, I digress. But what they're saying now with the pitch clock is the pitcher's got to hurry up and throw the ball within, like 20 seconds. Right. So you've thrown a baseball before, Rob, correct? You've pitched
numerous times. And I
right.
wanted to kind of piggyback off that. Like, going from old school to new school, you remember some pitchers that took a minute, like and because it's part of their routine, it's part of their muscle memory. I mean, you see all the people, and I want to bring this up because this might be a good piggyback of why some of the injuries are happening. You're taking a childhood game that never had a pitch clock until 2023, right? And then all of a sudden, the second year, you're seeing more injuries. Is why we're talking about this, is because of the speed process and the stress to the body. Do you think anxiety might have a lot to do with it, that tenses up the muscles due to the fact that you're in front of thousands of people? You have a pitch clock now, kind of like a play clock for the quarterback in
Great
football,
point.
and
Great
and
point.
they're used to that. Does it cause any like di- overall, muscle stress to a player that might suffer from what we suffer from, anxiety,
Sure.
that could cause these muscles to
Absolutely.
tighten up, and boom,
Right.
there you go. You just blew out a knee, a hamstring, an elbow.
Yep.
And I mean, a lot of people could say, okay, let's do the pitch clock because it helps move the game faster. It helps put all the sponsorships in there that they need. It helps basically shorten a game so that you can help the fans out. I mean, it is 162 games
Yep.
a year. I
You gotta
mean,
shorten
that's a
that season, by the way.
lot of fucking
You gotta
games. And
shorten the
and
season. It's
not
too
only
long.
that, not
It's
only
too long.
that, you got to incorporate double headers throughout the season because of weather and what other, travel issues or whatever the case may be. But I do agree with this pitch clock, but I don't agree with how much time you have. I think they can do a little bit more on maybe trying to enhance that to help. But I think with the speed of the game, especially with those pitchers that take forever after every ball they get back, it drives me nuts. So
There
I'd
has to
like
be a
that
happy medium.
incorporated, but there has to be a happy medium. That is a great way to say it. And that's all I wanted to say and piggyback off that because
Thank
I
you.
was kind of, you know, I was kind of a skeptic when it came to the pitch clock, but now it does show what it's doing, and they're gonna have to do something like the NFL did for the concussion protocol, right? So you're gonna have to
Yep.
do something that's gonna benefit the pitchers if
And
this
this
is
is their
more of an
concussion
injury prone.
problem.
And once again, real quick with Otani, he's your
Mhm.
highest paid pitcher ever. You have to
Yep.
protect someone like that. That's your value. That's your core. That's your MLB's baby face, even though he's kind of a heel right now in wrestling terms.
Yeah. You're taking your arm and you're throwing it in an unnatural motion over and over violently. More pitchers than ever are throwing 100 miles an hour now. It used to be about 95 if you threw 95, 96. Wow, that was big. Right now, that's just average. That's nothing. Like, okay, you throw 95, big deal. Everybody's throwing triple digits. Take a rubber band and keep pulling it, pull on that rubber band. You got to take a break with the rubber band, right? And let it rest for a little bit and pull it again, take a rest for a little bit. And if you keep pull, it's going to snap. And that's the problem with this pitch clock. Some guys just need to take a second or more. I don't want to say a second because it's more than that, but some guys need to take a few moments to gather their thoughts, get back on the mound, take a deep breath, get ready for the next pitch and throw it. And now if I put a shot clock on it, anxiety, absolutely. It's like tests. I had test anxiety where, I study, I would know all the information inside and out. Now you put me in a room with a pen and you give me 20 minutes and you go, take the test. And I like freeze up and I blank out and I get an F on the test and I come home and my mom and dad would quiz me and I would know all the answers. And they're like, well, then why the hell did you fail the test? Same thing with the teacher. And I'd go over it with them and I know all the answers and it's in life. Anytime you're put under the price. So yes, it's a mental and baseball now does have mental skills. They have people, Bob Tewksbury for the Cubs. He's a mental skills coach, one of the most successful. In fact, he wrote a book. I recommend reading it. I have it upstairs. Mental skills is a big thing that's going to help players. But you got to maybe lengthen the clock just a little to give guys a little bit more time on the mound so they could gather their physical and their mental aspects and see because all I could say is the trend with Tommy John surgeries is at an all-time high. And it's not all the pitch clock to blame, too. There's more that goes into it because if you go back to the 70s, the 60s, Bob
Mhm.
Gibson was throwing 300 innings. Bob Gibson, 300 innings. But
Insane.
why didn't he have to have Tommy John surgery? Rotations were going with like four-man guys. Now if you throw 100 pitches, right? Used to be 100 pitches is the magic number and you're out of the game. And people are on pitch counts. Gosh, there were guys that were throwing 150 pitches in a game, 180 pitches in a game. Why didn't Greg Maddux need? Well, he was a soft tosser. He didn't throw as hard, but still, Roger Clemens didn't have Tommy John. Nolan Ryan didn't have Tommy John. In fact, Nolan Ryan pitched till he was 45 years old. Finally, in his last start of his last season, his arm finally went out on him. The point of the matter is, What are we doing different today that back then they weren't doing? And some of the things is the training. Pitchers and guys need to be more like Tom Brady, more elasticity, more rubber band work, more yoga, Pilates, stretching. Um, and now what you're doing is there's too much weight training. Guys are getting too bulked up. They're too tight. And then now you put a pitch clock on and you go, hurry up and go faster. Everybody just take a breath, slow down. And it's the world in general. Everything faster, 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 faster. And we have more mental health. And this is a segue. Problems. That's because we're too fast. We got to slow down on the road. People are getting mad, beeping their horns and flipping everybody off and getting in accidents. Take a pill. It's expression, folks. Chill.
So
Chill.
with that said, I know you want. I want you to talk a little bit about what's going on with the MLB. Your thoughts up to this point. We're talking about the pitching clock right now, which is very important. We're seeing a lot of injuries, more injuries than you would expect this year. What do you think the MLB is going to have to do, Roy, if this continues on the next couple of weeks? Are they going to have to change something mid-season? Are they going to have to say,
No,
"Oh
they're
my
not
God,
going to do it.
we're
They're not going to do
losing
it, dude.
so much revenue right
They
now
should.
because these certain
They're not.
players, like if Otani goes out because of a pitch clock, you know they're going to have to do something, right? Give me that thought. I'm going to be right back. Got to use the restroom. Thought I was going to make a 2-hour show, guys. Like going to Twinkle. Well, I got Twinkle. So Roy, take it away.
All right. So what they're going to have to do is they're not going to do anything mid-season. So my opinion is you have to take the pitchers and the baseball players association. You have to sit them down. And you have to say, okay, you guys are the ones going on the mound throwing. You are our product. You are an investment. So we need to get your input here. What do you guys think? And they need to collaborate. What do you guys think we need to do to help you be more successful and less injured? And yes, let's bring some doctors to the table, like a Dr. James Andrews, and let's bring some of the specialists in. And let's sit down and collaborate. What could we do to make the game safer? It's not as severe as the concussion, the CTE in football, but it's still a problem. And so, what do we need to do to make things better with our training programs? What do we need to do from a medical standpoint? And then this pitch clock, is it too short? And do we need to lengthen it? And I think that you come together and you say, well, let's maybe let's keep the pitch clock. Let's add a little bit more time onto it. Okay. And let's go back to the minor leagues. Let's test it out down there and let's see how it goes for a year or two, but I'd say a year because we don't have a whole lot of time. And then at that point, you implement something into the next collective bargaining agreement that because it has to be voted on. There's nothing that you could just force upon people. But I think that's the best case scenario at this point, and that's how you're going to resolve it. But there's nothing that's going to be done mid-season because they're going to have egg on their face, and they don't want that. And again, there's a lot of red tape that goes involved with a voting process. So those are my thoughts on how you're going to fix it.
Excellent segue into what we need to do here because you know what, Roy, with mental health, everyone in sports needs mental health to perform well, to be a good teammate, to be a good role model for the fans, right? So, with that said, you know what happened this weekend? I think this is a good segue. I'm going to show this real quick and play a little bit of ambience in the background. Let's see if you can hear it. This is the solar eclipse. This is brought to you by WHAS 11. And I think this is beautiful. ABC. I'm going to give a shout out to them and just some shots that they gave. And it's a good segue, in my opinion. It just kind of sets the tone of what we're about to get into of mental health.
Sorry, I got to make a joke here. Remember the song "A Total Eclipse of the Heart"?
I do not.
You don't what? Yes, you
Unless
do.
I hear it. Okay, unless I hear it.
Once upon a time, I was falling in love, but now I'm only falling apart. There's nothing I can do. It's a total eclipse of the heart.
Kind of loving this music too. It's just bringing in some good ambience, guys. And once again, not my footage, not our footage. This is WHAS 11 ABC on your side with this video. It's a 5-minute video. Checked it out on YouTube. It's the time lapse of the 2024 total eclipse in Indiana. This is Indiana
Which
footage.
was in the totality path.
Correct. Now, you said, Roy, with this total eclipse that it got dark and it felt like it was dusk, almost 10 o'clock
Yeah.
at night. How for people wondering,
Mhm.
here we go here. For people wondering, how was it? Was it just like this where it's kind of getting dark, and did it feel different? Did it feel weird? Like,
It
what was
felt
your
like dusk, you know. It felt like the sun was setting for the evening, and that's basically, what it felt like. I didn't look at it. So let's get so the anxiety factor for me. It didn't have anything to do my eyesight, right? I wanted to protect my eyes, and I'm gonna admit I'm a bit of a hypochondriac. So even wearing the glasses and going out or being around crowds of people would cause me bad anxiety. So I chose to stay inside, close the blinds, and just watch it on TV. Let the experts show it to me through the properly filtered lenses on the camera. I don't trust these glasses. Some of them were recalled.
I was just going to
There's a
talk
lot
about
of
that.
there's a lot of scams out there, Amazon, but there were stores that sold some, and they went on and they recalled some of them, and they said don't use these. And I've read a lot of horror stories of people who actually looked at it momentarily over the years. One kid was 13 back in 1990, and then he said for like 2 weeks all he saw was yellow. Everything was in yellow color. He was afraid to tell his parents. And then when he was 16 and he went for his driver's license, he failed the eye exam, and it was because he couldn't see the peripheral things around it. Permanent eye damage.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
Someone else, a lady, told her story that she looked up at it right when it was like what you're showing right there, the crescent.
Yes.
And even though it was a moment, she said she always saw that crescent in her eye when she would blink. It was like a black spot of a crescent in her eye. So she went to an eye doctor, and they said, yeah, that just was from the eclipse. This is
1
permanent
minute
eye
to totality,
damage.
by the way. And I just want to show this whole clip right straight through
Yeah.
because we down here in Florida, for those obviously that don't know, we didn't see anything. So you guys back in Chicagoland and through Indiana, which we're watching now, had the totality of the eclipse, which
Texas,
was
Southern
phenomenal.
Illinois. We had 94% up here in Chicagoland.
And look at
But
these people right here. Just what you were talking about too. You see how they're looking up?
yeah, well,
Like,
they got the glasses on. But even if
oh,
you
which
just
ones?
for a moment happen to take a look at it, the rays,
Look how dark it is. Wow.
when it's black, you supposedly could look at it safely with the naked eye. But once that light emits, those solar lights cause permanent damage,
Look
and
at
it's
that.
instantaneously.
So that is basically 10 p.m., ladies and gentlemen. That's what Roy was talking about. And
Look
look
at
at
it.
it. Now we're going. 5,
But no
4,
moon. Think about it,
3,
Rob. At night,
2,
there's at least a moon.
1. Totality.
At least there's
Solar
a moon at
eclipse.
night.
Look at
So
that.
you have
I'm
sunlight.
looking at it without glasses.
Well,
I'm
because we
crazy
have
right now.
yeah,
I know we're fucking around, but that shit right there is amazing. And I've seen it when I was younger in middle school. I was a seventh grader at the time. Actually, it was right around the O.J. Simpson
nice.
shit that was going
Not
on.
nice, but
That was the full eclipse that I've seen last. But look at that. Look how dark that is, ladies and gentlemen.
yeah, it's kind of freaky.
Insane.
It's
The
freaky.
full path of it is outstanding. Now, let's
Yeah.
talk about, I'm going to get out of this here.
All
Let's
right.
talk about let's talk about the traffic really quick of what happened. In Carbondale South, like, people don't understand. There's over 200,000 people that were projected to be down in in Carbondale, correct? You know,
Yep.
if Southern Illinois.
Yep. So
Okay.
everybody flocked down there. It's a small town, small area. It's not made for all that traffic going down I-57 or I-55. So everybody gets there at one time. They pack it in. It's done. Then they get in their cars and they leave at the same time. And it takes them 11 hours in 2017. They said it was like some people said they were stuck in traffic for 11 hours. Now, on WGN News, Ray Cortopassi came on at night. It was 9 o'clock. He goes, "My son is still stuck in traffic," and that was at 2 o'clock. The eclipse. So do the math, right? If it happened at 2 and he got in his car and it's 9 o'clock, he's still stuck in traffic. I mean, they
Right.
said full tank of gas. Make sure your phone is fully charged. Have some water with you. Get down there early. Stay late and then come home. But no, everybody gets in their car one time and they leave. And then they get mad. And then you get road rage. Well, yeah, because people, it's just common sense. Like that was what upset me. And I wasn't about to be a part of that. I wasn't gonna why stress myself? It's supposed to be fun and it's gonna stress me out. No, thank you. I watched it on TV. I kept my blinds closed. I watched Tom Skilling. I watched it on TV the safe way. I didn't
Right.
want to take a chance with some glasses that might have been cheap.
Right.
And, they're selling them at the dollar store. Oh, yeah, I'm going to trust some pair of glasses I bought at the dollar store to protect my eyes and not go blind. Get out of here.
Well, Roy, with that said, that's why I wanted to get into the solar eclipse, because I feel that now we're getting into the mental health state of everything, guys, ladies and gentlemen. I just want to let everyone know that, we always do something that are themes. Let me fix my green screen here. That are themes. And the solar eclipse obviously was perfect for us to come into the mental health stage of things, because it does affect the mind, the body, the soul, and obviously giving a lot of people headaches and possibly eye issues for the rest of their lives now. But when it comes to animals, and me and Roy talked about this off the
Yeah.
air, of how animals were. I'm sorry, I got a piece of hair. Speaking of animals, my cat hair, the cat hair is like on my face, and I can't get rid of it. So, anyways, but with that said, hey, anything can happen live here on the podcast. All right, I'm not editing shit out. All right, so you better damn believe that. Other than that, with the mental health purpose of that, this hair that's in my face is driving me nuts. No pun intended there, because of all that mental health stuff we're talking about. But with that said, we're going to get serious now. We're going to get into something that has to do with my mental health. I suffer from PTSD, anxiety. I suffer from disabilities that I'm not going to get completely into, but I will share the mental disabilities that I have and the medications that I was on. And I do want to say right now, personally, I am not on any medications right now, and I will tell you the secret on my end later in this segment. But with that said, Roy, I want to get right into it, because there's a lot of things that you and I share when it comes to mental health, and thus the reason why I have this nice backdrop of waves coming in, and I wish you can have the ambient sound of the water coming in. It just soothes your soul and helps with meditating. If people do meditate, yoga is another thing that a lot of people do to kind of release any type of stress that's going through your muscles, your body, your mind, your soul. And with me, I've helped a lot of suicide attempt victims out in the past. And to start out with what I've done, ladies and gentlemen, I'm a suicide attempt victim twice. Once when I was 17, and then another, honestly, not too long ago. And I'm not going to give the state on that of when it was, but uh, let's just say it's been a short time ago, and it was maybe 1 or 2 years. All right, so that's a short time. You're gonna ask me, well, Rob, how you doing right now? Are you okay? Absolutely. I am way better than I was 2 years ago. I have my identity back. I feel I'm no longer, like I said, on any medications that I've taken. I've been on 5 or 6 different medications for mental health that I feel, in my opinion, once again, I'm not licensed. I'm not telling you guys what to do. I need to make this perfectly clear, because this is a very sensitive subject. I'm not telling you to stop doing what you're doing or take what you're taking, but what I'm doing right now is I'm a person that is trying to evolve with self identity by not having to use any type of drug. Now, if people ask me, you don't use anything, well, I do partake in what I've been doing since I was little to help me, and doctors have told me to do the same thing. And we do have smoke shops over here that legally sell certain gummies and THC products, THCA. And that is something that I do to help myself, for a natural herb to help calm my body, my muscle spasms that I have, other health issues that I'm dealing with pain, because I'm not trying to fill my liver with all these pain medications and all these other medications that these doctors and pharmaceutical companies want to give you. And that's more on the political side. So I don't want to talk about that. But the point is, um, I've made many decisions in my life and learning from my suicide attempt victims that I've helped out by talking to them with knowledge, talking to them with what I've been through, talking to them on saying, you know what? Just because family's family doesn't mean you have to stick with family. Because if they're the ones that are going to throw you underneath the bus, and I'm just saying this from personal experience from others that I spoke with, um, you don't have to, you don't owe anybody anything, right? If you're a good-hearted person like myself and Roy are, and you wake up and you thank the Lord for another day, no matter what you got going on. You could be $4,000 in the hole with the IRS. You could be $80 left in your bank account. You have no income coming in from the state. You have no health insurance. You have all this stuff piling up on you, and you don't know where the hell to go. Well, guess what? This gentleman right here that's on the other screen with me, we talk to each other every day. We text each other almost every day. We talk to each other, I think verbally we will at least talk to each other 4 or 5 times a week, Roy. We've been consistent on helping each other through the processes of what we've gone through. Roy has shared that he's lost some loved ones. He's dealing with some personal issues, just like I am. Like anyone is. Anyone that's watching this show, I guarantee fucking to you, you are having some type of emotional breakdown. I mean, look what happened after the pandemic. A lot of things has made people crazy, and they're starting to believe things they never believed in before. And it's sad to see some certain family members or friends that has parted ways because of the bullshit that they've been reading or having to live through. The job market. I just had an awesome interview with this one company in the sporting field yesterday. She said that I had one of the best interviews conducted, and I'm trying to better my life by getting a really good job. And yes, we're going to keep doing this, ladies and gentlemen. The whole point is we start something up like this because we want to watch it evolve. We're not expecting to be Joe Rogan. We're not expecting to be Pat McAfee. We're not expecting to be, the number one podcast in the world like New Heights is with Travis Kelsey. And his good old brother. But the thing is, Travis Kelsey and Jason Kelsey, and his good, they're brothers, and just like we are, we're brothers. We've grown up together, so we have a lot in common with those two. The only difference is we haven't played in the NFL, and we're not dating Taylor Swift. But the thing is, with us is I think, and I can talk with Roy, and Roy can piggyback off me, and we'll keep it in this realm of mental health of how we keep each other together. If you're wondering how to keep faith every single day, if you have a fire that just keeps getting bigger and bigger and you don't know how to put it out because the more water you put on it, you feel like the fire and the flames getting bigger. And I'm using a lot of metaphoric points here because I'm a metaphor guy. And it just helps me realize things and understand things better, in my opinion. I don't need those medical facts. I don't need to hear the big 17 letter words. I don't need to hear that. I want to talk about why people tend to mock and make fun of or say that PTSD isn't a real thing, that anxiety is just all in our head, that we're the only ones that are riling ourselves up. We're the only ones that are our own enemy, our own demons. And they say, oh, demons are just an excuse. You're saying you have demons that you're battling with because you fucked up in life. Sure. That's the way we have to look at it, though. Right. So, who the fuck in their right mind out there has the audacity to go up to someone that is suffering with mental health and all they've been asking for was help? And whatever that could be, it could be going to the doctor, calling someone on a helpline, calling their best friend, calling their most trusted family member, talking to their support animal. I have a support animal. He's my cat. He's 17 years old. He's a diabetic cat. Roy has support animals. Roy and I are very into animals, and we know that animals know more than humans when it comes to emotional and physical emotions overall. I mean, when a cat jumps on you and you're having an anxiety attack and they lay right here on your chest and they just keep trying to get your attention, what they're doing is trying to settle you down. They can sense that, right, Roy? And with that said, I want you to jump in on this, Roy, because for this final 45 minutes, and we're going to extend this program today for 2 hours, 15 minutes for mental health. So we don't lose anything or get rushed on this because, ladies and gentlemen, timestamp it right now, an hour and a half. We're in the show. And please comment. Please comment. Please help anyone else. This is your time to shine as fans of our show. Share, like, subscribe. This isn't the only time we're going to be talking about mental health. Why not talk about it once a month? Let's check in with you guys. Come here, talk with us. Once again, Roy and I are not licensed therapists. We're not psychiatrists. We're not going to tell you what medicines to take. That's illegal. We don't have a PhD in medicine.
No.
But the thing we do have is experience. And me being 42, Roy's just a tad bit older than me, but we don't look fucking day over our age. I tell you that right now, Roy. We look sexy as fuck, don't we? We're sexy men. But anyways, with that said, that's the confidence you need to have. Wake up every day, look at yourself in the mirror and say, "You're a sexy ass man. You have a good smile. You got fucking big ass muscles. We're gonna work out today. I'm gonna get my tan working because I never had a good tan in my life. I'm gonna get my beard and mustache evened out. I'm gonna wear this hat because this makes you feel good. You know what? I haven't wore a collared shirt in a while. I'm gonna wear a collared button-up shirt because I fucking feel good." Right? And that's what you need. That's how I feel. You need to start the day out with yourself. And if you have an identity issue, which I had for a long time, and some people do struggle with, and if you don't know what an identity issue is, it's when you look in the mirror and say, "What the fuck am I doing? Why am I not able to make anybody happy?" Well, see, there's your problem right there. You just said it. Right, Rob? Why am I not making anybody else happy? Why? It's this simple. It's because you're not happy. You're miserable with your own life. And I'm being real with you right now. Okay. I'm going to take a solo on this real quick, Roy. I'm going to be real with you guys right now. If you have to wake up and you have to say, why the fuck does no one like me? Why the fuck am I sitting here today weeping and crying in my own fucking tears in my own bed in a dark room for hours in and hours end, losing my appetite, not losing interest in the passions and the dreams that I love. When you start feeling like that, ladies and gentlemen, that is right then and there. You need to snap yourself out of it and you need to make that fucking phone call because you can't make any fucking excuse from here on out when you see this phone in your hand. Because 99% of the time, if you're taking a shit, you're on your phone. So if you're crying and weeping, and I'm not making it funny on this, I'm just being real. This is how I talk. If you're sitting on that toilet and you're crying, weeping, and thinking any negative thoughts, you pick up this phone, and we're going to get into this here in a little bit. And Roy has some awesome methods for you guys to look into. And he also has some numbers to share as well that helped him out and helped us both out continuing forward. So, my point is here, guys, ladies and gentlemen, is if you have a phone, which 99% of us do, use it, utilize it, help yourself and help yourself help you, right? And that's the first step. Don't ever think that you need gratification from someone to tell you, "Hey, am I doing everything all right? Is my dream working for you?" No, who gives a fuck what they say? They either are with you or they're against you. And as long as you have the mentality that you have the tunnel vision to look in your own eyes, in your own viewfinders, your POV, if you see what's ahead of you, and at the end of the tunnel is the leprechaun with the pot of gold, then you're gonna follow the leprechaun with the pot of gold because that's where you need to go. And that no one's gonna tell you to turn left or right. You are the one that sees out of these two eyes. Okay. And that's pretty much where I want to leave it off to Roy. Roy, I know you want to piggyback into this. This is a very emotional segment. I have all your stuff ready to go. You let me know what you want me to bring up.
Okay. Let me start by asking you, how much time do I have?
Roy, you have as much time as you want. We're just going to try to
All right.
cap it off at 2 hours, 15
All
minutes.
right.
So as
All
much
right.
time as you
All right.
need, brother.
I want to be very delicate. I want to be very concise. I want to be very just on point with the words and the way that I articulate this. So it's a sensitive issue here. I'll start with this. Number one, uh, get the treatment that you need, right? There's a lot of stigmas out there. There's a lot of different methods. We're not doctors. Um, we're not licensed therapists. What I'm going to talk to you about is from a perspective of the treatment professionally that I've received. And I also want to talk about when you're supporting someone and how to help someone and what not to do. And I'll start with that. I'm going to role play here just so follow along with me. Hi, Johnny. It's Roy. Oh, man. What's wrong? Well, man, I'm freaking out right now. I'm not feeling good. You know, I feel like my left arm is numb right now. Man, I'm freaking out. My chest, I feel like I'm having a hard time breathing. My left foot feels numb. I'm just not feeling good. Come on, Roy. Seriously, dude. Like, we've been through this before. You know you're having a panic attack. This crap's all in your head, dude. Knock it off. All right. I mean, come on, man. You gotta toughen up here. You know, what do you want me to do? Take a shoe and just hit you in the head with it? Like, this is all in your head. You gotta toughen up. You gotta have thick skin, man. You gotta be a man. All right. So just knock it off already. Every time I talk to you, you have this stuff going on here, man. Like, get it together. That is not the right way to handle it. Okay. Not the right way. For me personally, when I have a panic attack, um, sometimes I just need to talk to somebody and I just need that person to listen to me. Whether I talk about sports, whether I talk about video games, memorabilia, whatever it is, I just need to talk it out. I need to talk it out. And eventually, what's going to happen is as I talk, I'm going to talk myself out of it, and the symptoms will go away. Could take 10 minutes, could take 20 minutes, could take a half hour. The point of the matter is it's a distraction to get the to take the focus off of my symptoms, right? And I have to tell myself, I've been here before. I know what I'm feeling. And what's scary is the symptoms sometimes feel like either a heart attack or a stroke. And as we get older, right, and we're in this age group here, we think, uh-oh, am I having the heart attack or the stroke? And so that's where you have to really be cognizant on when to go to the ER and when not to go to the ER and, use some common sense and figure it out. But I think where I struggle with is relationships. I tend to isolate because I've lost friends and relationships over it because people just get tired of I'm sorry, I'm just going to put it out there, my bullshit, right? I'm exhausting to listen to, I'm exhausting to deal with, I'm full of drama, if you will. So what I do is I retreat and I just shut everybody off. And I figure it's easier if I just deal with it on my own because I don't want to be a drain on people or society. And we got to do a better job of educating ourselves. We go to school to learn math. We go to school to learn science. We go to Bible studies to learn about religion. We do a lot of things to educate ourselves. But what we don't do is we're lacking on the mental health knowledge. And I think it should be taught in school. I think that everybody in college, I know there's sociology and psychology courses. I think we need to back those up into high school, maybe even into junior high. And let's take it even down to that level because that's where a lot of bullying starts. And for me, that's where it seemed to started is when I was in junior high, tail end of elementary school into junior high, I started getting bullying. And I had some, problems at home, which I won't get into. I'm going to keep those personal. So when you have those personal problems at home, then you go to school, and then you get bullied and picked on, that's a lot to deal with. And that's where the anxiety attacks started. And so I think what we should do is introduce psychology and sociology into those levels. Um, so let me talk about some tips, right? I went through a program called IOP, and if you want me to give you what that stands for, I'm just not that smart enough to tell you what the IOP basically in a nutshell is. You go to a program and you're not inpatient. It's a day program, right?
Right.
You go to school from like 9 to 3. One of the things they talk about is mindfulness. And I sent Rob some stuff about
Right up.
mindfulness. UCLA. You can go on YouTube and look up UCLA mindfulness. And what mindfulness is staying in the moment. And a lot of that is it's meditation. Okay. And it's just stopping and closing your eyes and listening. And also it's going to include your 5 senses.
Let's check in a little bit with this one.
Yeah, yeah. I'll stop for a minute
Help
and
cultivate
go ahead.
self-awareness and emotional regulation. It can improve our relationships and with our work relationships, family relationships, friendships, patients, colleagues. It's a helpful self-care tool. So what I want to do now is talk for a little bit about the mindfulness and health research. So the field of mindfulness is fairly young. The first studies were done in the early 70s, but there were only a few studies done then. And then it's gone and it's increased significantly. So now there's about 3,000 research studies on mindfulness. However, although that sounds
Diana
like a lot,
Winston,
it's
by the
still an
way.
early field. So
Notice her
we're
tone
seeing
of
how many
voice.
studies there are for
Mm-hmm.
heart disease and exercise.
Very
You would probably
calming.
find showing that exercise improves heart disease. You would probably find about 50,000 studies. So you can see that the mindfulness research is early.
Notice her body
However, it's very
language and her
promising and
facial
exciting
expression as
because
she's
it's an
presenting.
intervention that anyone can do of any background. It doesn't matter about your background, your religion, your health condition. There's so many possibilities for doing mindfulness, and therefore it's a really promising tool. So in the health field, they've done a lot of research looking at mindfulness, and much of it shows it's connected to boosting the immune system, to reducing inflammation, as I have on this slide. There's some research looking at how genetic markers of inflammation are positively impacted through doing mindfulness practice. So it can reduce actually these long-term chronic illnesses. It can reduce the inflammation associated with these long-term chronic illnesses. One of the early research studies was looking at how mindfulness helps with the healing response. And so this was a psoriasis study done in the late 90s. And typically what happens for psoriasis, the typical treatment
30 more seconds to this.
Screen, it's like almost like a tanning booth. UVB rays to the skin. What they did in this particular study is they had some people practice along mindfulness, listening to an audio recording, and some people did the treatment as usual. The people who did the meditation along with the treatment healed 3 times faster than the people who didn't.
All right, so let's talk about that. I'm going to talk about that right there. Pause that. Did you hear what she said? Mindfulness meditation. I touched upon that just a little bit. My father, shout out to my father, Carl, which Roy, you know very well.
Yep.
My father has struggled, with health conditions, and I'll say it. I know he doesn't mind me saying it. He suffered from a stroke. He's still, recovering from it. It happened last September, and he's been doing a good job. It's just he still doesn't have motivation to do it. And my opinion is it's definitely a mental standpoint. It's the confidence level he has in himself. It's the falls. It's the scary result that could happen. And that's one thing that I've learned that I'm trying to educate my own father on is you got to get over your fears of things that you're creating in your mind that are happening in your mind. You're creating this story and you're creating the conclusion already. And what I've learned is if you stop creating the conclusion in your mind and you think of, for example, right now, I can walk out the room. I'm going to use an example. Walk out the room, use the bathroom, and I know that Roy's going to take the show on without any dead spots. Old Rob, and I'm just using you as an example because I trust the shit out of Roy, but old Rob would be, oh my God, I have to use the bathroom. What happens if there's going to be dead air? What happens if his camera turns off? What happens if there's no audio and there's dead air for 46 seconds? That's old Rob. Do you see what I did there? I created.
Pick a solo real quick. I got to grab something I want to bring on
Yeah.
the show. Take a solo.
Yeah. All right. I created a mindset, right? That I already know what the future is going to be. I created that. So old Rob would have been like, fuck it. I'm just going to stay here and I'm going to be miserable and just get through the show without, pissing. And that's the best example I can give because I had to do it twice already on this show, guys. But my point is when you start breaking away, right? When you start breaking away from that type of mentality, and it's not going to change overnight, ladies and gentlemen, but the only way that you can change it is if you start changing it and you have self-awareness. Stop being optimistic about your mental health, because what I mean by that, optimism can get you killed. I want you to be confident that you can change your mental health and that you're going to do it, as in taking a journal, for example, or a spiral notebook. And just, if you want to go old school, if you want to stay old school, go to the dollar store and buy yourself a little journal or even sticky notes, and put sticky notes on areas that you want to fix. Like, do different types of colors. Like, red is urgent, green is go. Like, hey, I did this last year was a red sticky note. Now I have this in a green sticky note. And what I mean by example is working out. Hey, I wanted to lose 50 pounds and you're at 30 pounds. Roy, you have something to share too about weight loss. If you got in there and said you had a goal weight and you did it, right? And that definitely has helped strengthen your mind. If you're a God's person, praying to the Lord, not praying to the Lord for money, but praying to the Lord, God, give me strength. Because if God gives you strength and you feel the strength and you see the signs, whether you see cardinals, butterflies, any type of angel, spiritual animals that are out there that means something to you, whether it's a number that means something to you, whether it's some type of picture that means something to you, as long as the Lord is reaching through you in some way, shape, or form, that right there, your prayer is being answered, ladies and gentlemen. And you might not know it, even though you're still going through trials and tribulations, whether it's a relationship issue, whether it's a job issue, whether you're behind on bills. That's everyday life, ladies and gentlemen. We can fix it. We just have to fix it ourselves, and we have to stop pointing the finger at everybody else. Have self-awareness. And when you start having self-awareness and people start noticing you have self-awareness, and then they start getting that defense mechanism up, right? Because they're like, oh shit, he's becoming powerful. She's becoming powerful. We need to back up and put our defense mechanism up. So what we're going to do is we're going to go after their mental health. We're going to start mocking their mental health and saying that PTSD is bullshit or anxiety is bullshit. Guess what, ladies and gentlemen?
Gaslighting.
And let's make sure we know what gaslighting is, because gaslighting is a form of manipulation that can cause a human being to lose their sanity. That is the definition of gaslighting. And gaslighting is what occurs in the manipulation of mental health. Okay. And that makes us go crazy. That makes us think we are crazy, that we need to go get a pill, or we need to go see a psychiatrist, or we need to jump off a fucking bridge. That's not what we need to have in our mind. We have to make sure we have in our mind is the Lord, God. God is first. God is the one. And I never understood this, Roy, until you taught me, and Dre taught me. Shout out to Andre, my boy. We're seeing him this weekend in Miami. He and Roy, he's your former neighbor. We all grew up together. We all have the same mindset in the Lord. And I think that's very important. And you went to go grab something, and I know you want to piggyback off what I have to say. So the floor is yours. Go ahead and read that out loud in Cameras
my
don't record.
father, and there I go leaning into the microphone like we were talking about in
It's
show
okay.
warm ups. So no, my late father, Roy Robert Herman, he suffered from anxiety later in life. When he was younger, though, he was analytical. He was an accountant. He had a master's degree. Everything was education, logic, and it's black or it's white. There's no gray areas. And he didn't understand anxiety early on when I or my mom had it. So he was to the mindset he was old school. Knock it off, right? But later on, he developed it, and as he did, he and I really delve into it together, and we partnered. And I helped him. I didn't judge him. I wasn't mad from things that he did from earlier in life. I forgave that. It was just a piece of his education that he was lacking. He had education that I was lacking in. I wasn't a numbers or analytical person. And then the human element and the interpersonal skills. But anyway, this is what my dad gave me, and he told me to live by this, and I'm going to read it off to you. And he really threw me a curveball when he brought this out to me, because totally he saw the light and changed as the years went on. But he recognized his flaw and he changed it. And he said, "Roy, this is what I'm going to tell you to live by. Ready? All right. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference." So I'm a control freak. I'm a type A personality. I want things to be perfect. And when I want to do something and I plan to do something, I don't want anything to get in my way. And that causes a lot of stress and anxiety. So the serenity is to accept the things I cannot change. For an example, I went on the show this morning. I wanted to connect up a cool little camera. Well, today was not that day. It'll happen next time. Today was not that day. And as I was having those technical difficulties, it started to stress me out. It started to bring in some anxiety and stress and triggers. So the serenity was to accept that today's not that day. We're just going to go ahead and we're going to do the show. Okay. The courage to change the things that I can. So I know that next time, not on show day, I'm going to do the prep, and I'm going to do it under the time that I have where I'm not on deadline or I don't have anything to go on. So then I could sit there and troubleshoot and take an hour or two or three, not under stress, and that I could do that. It could be as simple as I'm going to go out today and I'm going to do some landscaping or I'm going to mow the lawn, and it's going to rain today. And now I'm out there trying to force it. Probably not a good idea. I should probably say, "Hey, I know the grass is long. I want to go cut it, but it's going to rain. Why am I going to fight the rain? Today is not that day." So you got to pick your battles. You got to choose your battles, and you have to know when to say, "I can't control what Mother Nature is going to do. I can't control what a technical situation is going to do. I can't control other people's emotions." A significant other might be in a bad mood today. A loved one might just be crabby, might want to pick a fight. Do I want to dig in and fight back? Or do I want to just say, "You know what? Let me just walk away today and let me let that person cool down and talk to them at another point." Or I'm being gaslit right now and I recognize that, and I'm going to walk away instead of fighting. So this prayer right here that my dad gave me is definitely life changing. And then the last thing I'm going to give you here is the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1
Oh, yep. Let me pull that up
concept.
for you. Yep, let me pull
It's a
that up for you.
grounding exercise. It's a grounding, right? So, what does electricity have that makes electricity work properly? It's a grounding mechanism, right? Without the grounding unit that connects to your electrical panel is going to go haywire. You could have a fire. You have to have the electrical grounding, and it's the same way. And do you know that there's actually electricity in our brain, Rob? Did you know that? Yes, there is. There is bits
Wow.
of electricity that go on in our brain. And so it's the same concept. If we
Hmm.
don't have the grounding part, then it will go haywire and we can have a fire. Now, it's not as simple as just, and I'm looking at my electrical down here. It's not just taking wiring and piping and connecting it so that it'll naturally work. I wish it was that simple. Otherwise, I would do that.
Right.
So here's how you do it. It's your five senses.
So this is from calm.com, by the way. Let's give a shout out to Calm. It's a
Yeah.
great website to go to, ladies and gentlemen. Go
So
ahead, Roy.
I'm going to go from 5 to 1.
Got you.
So number 5, acknowledge 5 things. So right now you're having a panic attack. You're in the moment, right? You're freaking out. Whether it's about unpaid bills, whether it's about someone just asked you for a divorce, maybe somebody just told you someone has cancer. Insert whatever is triggering you right now at this moment. All right. I think life looks hopeless. Oh my God, I'm going to die. I'm having a panic attack. I'm either having a stroke, a heart attack, or I'm thinking about committing suicide. All right. So I've called helplines and I was in the IOP program. So right now, what you're going to want to do is acknowledge 5 things that you see around you. You look around the room. I see a red and green Christmas bin that has ornaments in it. I see an autographed Wilson NCAA basketball. I see a Winnie the Pooh piggy bank. I see a purple bin Rubbermaid that also has some items of storage in it. And then last but not least, I'm looking at a washer and dryer set. All right. So that's 5 things I can see. 4 things that I could touch around me. I could touch my table. I could touch my microphone. There's ridges on my microphone. I feel
Mhm.
those ridges. I could touch the sign. It's glass, so it's sleek and smooth. So really dig into the feeling of how that feels. Um, so those 4 things that you could touch, really focus on the feel. Fidget spinners are great. You could fidget and spin your spinner and watch it and feel it
Mhm.
and just really get lost into the fidget spinner, right? So those are some cool things. There's those bubble things that you could push in,
And how many
right?
people have done this? You see my can here? I lift
Mhm.
my tab up all the time for a
Yep.
couple reasons. I have OCD. So if I have
I
3
do too.
people around that are drinking out of a can of any sort, right? I pull my tab up and I see some people do it over. And if all tabs are up, I do this. Like it just freaks me out. I always take my tab off and I pop it right in so I know that that was mine. Or back in the day, I didn't put it in when there's liquid in there, obviously. But my point is, if there was like people smoking cigarettes or something outside, they would use these for ashtrays.
Mhm.
That would be another
Yep.
term. Pull that tab off to know, hey,
Yep.
don't drink out of this shit or this. So
Right.
I have a lot of OCD stuff. Let's talk about that too. OCD is
Sure.
another thing.
Sure.
That's part of anxiety. OCD and
Exactly.
anxiety, I think, tie together.
Yep.
So
I'm
that's
gonna
just I'm just
finish
piggybacking
these.
off what you're saying.
Yep. I'm gonna finish these quick points here, real quick. The third is acknowledge 3 things that you hear. So maybe go outside and just sit and listen to the birds chirp. If you're by water, listen to the water as it just flows. Music. Put on a song that you like. Put on some music that you like. Put on some calming music. Put on a silly song, whatever it is. Peanut butter and jelly time. It's peanut butter and jelly, whatever it is. Just so acknowledge those things that you hear. Number 2, acknowledge 2 things that you could smell. Now, when we say smell, you want to shock the senses here, right? So it's like a heart attack patient where they put the defibrillator on you and they, you know.
Yep.
So don't
Clear.
smell it. Don't smell anything that's going to be toxic. What I'm saying is like a Vicks vapor rub inhaler. I love those. Just put it up to your nose and
Hmm.
smell that. And the Vicks vapor kind of is like, whoa, right? Maybe it's essential oils, lavender. Maybe it's some hand sanitizer I just put on my hands. I'm just kind of like a quick, it's something that just shocks your senses, right? And then finally acknowledge one thing that you can taste. And again, it's not like, oh, I'm gonna go have a piece of pizza. It tastes good. I'm talking about I dab a little Tabasco sauce on my tongue. Oh, how about some Sour Patch Kids? Ooh, something that really will shock the senses and ground you. Okay. And then when you finally have reached all 5 of those things, hopefully at that point, because you've really delved into those things, you have calmed down and you feel better and you could breathe better. You have all control of your senses and your well-being. The last thing that's not on the list is your breathing. What I was told is a lot of times when we have these panic attacks, you're not breathing properly. You have
That's
to
right.
breathe in through your nose, breathe
And
out
out
of
the
your
mouth.
mouth. And when
So,
I get tense, I stop breathing or
so
I get shallow breathing.
So why don't we do this together for everyone that's watching that might be stressed now? We're at the 2 hour mark, got about 14 more minutes to go, plenty of time. Roy, great analogy. I just want to say, thank you overall for being a brother and a friend to me through these hard times. And, without Roy, ladies and gentlemen, this show is not possible. And I know I'm being very modest and humble, but right now, what he's doing, I recommend we're going to take about 10, 15 seconds and we're all going to do this breathing exercise together. So, everyone just kind of let your body loose. That's at home right now. Just let everything loose, whatever you got going on. Try to close your eyes. And, guys, you'll know that you're stressing about something if you close your eyes and your eyes are just going crazy behind those lids. So, nice deep breath in, hold it, and then just let it out. And guys, this isn't rocket science. This is on the internet. This has helped myself and Roy out numerous times. So take about 10, 15 seconds. We're going to do a couple of these. Just doing that one. Wow.
Yeah.
And as I let these breaths out, I can feel my heart rate just slowing down. And I'm just feeling my hands, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if you see it. They're sweating right in between my palms here. And, I feel, and I'm legit saying this on God, like after those 3 huge inhales and exhales, I'm tired. Holy shit. Like, honestly, you don't
You're calming
realize
down.
how much
And what
shit is
happens
still inside you.
when the
Yeah.
stakes are high? Okay, I'm gonna use a call center example. I got a
Mhm.
phone call that comes in now, and I got somebody on the other line yelling at me, and they're upset, and they want this problem fixed now. The first thing I do, without knowing it, is I get on the edge of my chair, I tense my feet, I go up on the balls of my feet, um, I start to tense my hands up, and I start to not breathe properly because I'm going into self-defense mode. I'm bracing for impact. Okay. Even though I'm not going to fight somebody, I'm bracing for self defense. And that's where the panic attack comes in because now you're not loose, you're not relaxed. You should always keep your feet flat on the floor, keep your shoulders down and back, and breathe. But our natural thing, and the same thing as sports analogy, I'm going to go to bat now. So I'm in the batter's box. I'm getting ready, and I know a 100-mile-an-hour ball's coming at me. What do? I start to hold my breath. You don't realize it. You hold your breath. That's wrong.
And you start getting lightheaded. And then once you start
Because you
getting
hold your breath.
lightheaded,
You're
you
not getting
think
enough
there's something,
oxygen to your brain.
and you
You
think something
got
bad's happening to you
to
because of
breathe.
that. And it's very
It's
important.
90% of the problem is you're not breathing under a stressful situation.
And ladies and gentlemen, like what Roy's been saying, and I applaud you, Roy, because we have a lot more to talk about mental health. Ladies and gentlemen, this isn't our first episode, and only episode, I should say, that we're going to be talking about mental health. We want to take this ride with you. if we can help each other, if you fans out there can, you can help each other in the comments. We're here. We want to make this a once a month thing minimum, so we can talk to you guys and update what we got going on, because this isn't going to be, you know, the only time, unless I'm fixing my green screen, that we're going to be having problems. And by all means, person behind these headphones and behind this microphone and behind this camera, in front of this camera, whatever you want to call it, um, I'm going through some shit. Let's just be real. But I'm here today with Roy and get him back on the screen. We're both here today because we know what we're capable of doing each and every show. And after each and every show, what we're going to do today as well, we're going to talk to each other and we're going to discuss. Awesome show, brother. Good shit. Let's keep this going. Everyone's going to enjoy this episode. And for those who are enjoying this episode, thank you. We appreciate you staying and tuning in with us. And for more content, make sure to follow us. Put that bell on the YouTube, and I'll put our characters up right here at House Jack City Media Group, HJC Media Group, ladies and gentlemen, right there, right under my name. Follow us on all the websites. Follow us on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram coming up here soon. Roy's going to be getting his Instagram. Like I said, we're going to be going live with you. You guys want to talk about mental health? Let's talk about whatever. All right. Obviously in the appropriate range, we'll talk about things, but I think it's very brave of Roy, very brave of myself for coming on here today in front of the world to talk about mental health. And this, we have a few minutes left, and we're going to end the show today as well, Roy. And I decided this when I was going through your stuff, the mediation for working with difficulties. I will play the last few minutes, and it comes from UCLA Health on YouTube. Make sure to subscribe to them. It's a great outlet for everyone that's looking for immediate type of motivation, immediate type of a therapeutic self session for yourself, right? To find something, whether it's ambient noises. Another type of advice I like to give you guys, I suffer from insomnia. So there's days where I'm wide awake at 1 a.m. and I'm like, oh fuck, here we go. It's gonna be one of
And
those nights
shut
because you
off.
can't shut it down.
Or
And
voices that tell you everybody has an inner voice
mhm,
that talks to you. And that may say you're awesome, the feeling of adrenaline, like I just crushed it, or you just got a rejection notice on a job
mhm.
and you're like, I suck at life. Everybody has that voice, but you have to channel that voice sometimes to
And
quiet it.
it's funny you say that about the job, right? What did I just tell you before I got on the air? The
Yep.
job I wanted, everything going on. I'm not going to say the name. The great company, excited to work
So
with them here in the future. But what did they tell me? They said, "You're a great candidate. We want to keep you on. Please let me know if you find something else. But talk to the partners. They're not going to hire until the end of May."
and
That's
the
yeah,
voice comes
fuck,
in and goes, "Hey, Rob.
fuck.
See,
You
here you
know,
go again, Rob. You keep
yeah.
trying, Rob. Why do you keep trying? You know you're
Mhm,
gonna fail, and this happens time and time again, Rob. And so, Rob, you're just poor you, right? You suck, Rob. Like light, everybody's against you, and that's that voice in your head, and you have to just shut that voice up. And that's when you go play video games. That's when you go work
mhm.
out. I love to work out, man, and you have to do something to shut that voice up and say, you know
Yeah.
what? I'm going to keep going. All right, that's fine. I'm going to
And I
go for
want to.
another job. And I'm going to go for another job. I'm going to hear 100 no's. I might hear 1,000 no's, but damn it, one person's going to say yes. It might take a year. It might take a month.
I want to show you this. This is what I wanted to show people. All right. Do you hear that nice ambient noise, Roy, of the rain? Do you hear it?
It's good.
You hear it? Right there, ladies and gentlemen, is the sound of a thunderstorm. You can look it up on YouTube. And if you suffer from insomnia like I do, Roy does, you're up at 1 a.m., you have to work at 6, 7 o'clock in the
Hmm.
morning. You're like, fuck, it's going to be a bad day at work. Turn this bastard on and try to close your mind out of all the bullshit you went through all day and just sit back and listen to exactly this, the sounds of a thunderstorm, the sound that God is creating, Mother Nature. is
And the,
trying to calm you down, to tell you that everything's going to be okay. You do those breathing exercises that we just did. It's simple stuff, and that's it.
water
So
cleans,
just wanted to
water
share that.
feeds, and
Mhm.
water washes away dirt. That's another way to look when you listen to it. Also think about watch it and go, wow, it's
Yeah.
cleansing the earth. It's cleaning away dirt.
And I want to show this, and another thing too, and this leads into mental health. If you're down or out about yourself, all right, and I show this not to show off or flex, but I'm showing this for a reason. I go through a lot. And as you see here, there's my name. What does it say underneath that? It says NFL, International Players Pathway. And you sometimes have to remind yourself, I got this for a reason. Why? Because I put in the hard fucking work to do it. See this here? This is when I was in London. This is an official's pass for the London game. Why?
Yes.
Because I fucking did it. All
Yep.
right. And that's and you don't need any gratitude or solidification from anyone out there other than yourself. And you do this to yourself, and this keeps you here and it keeps you going up. You're going to have those days, ladies and gentlemen. I was saying, ladies and gentlemen, 650 times here today because I want to put the message through to you that you're not the only one. You have two people that are right here on your screens. All right. Whether you're on your phone or on your television or in New York, Times Square, baby. Point is these two gentlemen right here have been doing this for a long time and been keeping our dreams alive. And we've had our days, we've had our dark spots, we've had our moments, we've had our times where we shut, like Roy said, we just shut everyone out, and we realize that's the wrong thing. We're only hurting ourselves. Okay, take a day, take a coping day, and it's okay to do so. But don't sit in the dark with no sounds, because if you do that, you're going to let the brain
Or dark
and the
music.
bad
I
dark
tend to
music
want to
take over.
go in my quiet, like wherever, isolate and listen. Sometimes, and this is bad habits now. This is where I get dark. And just listen to like tragic music that reminds me of something that happened when I was 6. Uh, Makes me think of um, just some bad times in my life, and that's a sadistic thing. But when we're having a pity party, it feels good, but it's a sadistic feel good because it just makes it makes you cry, and it just makes you like that's where you go to don't do that, and I have to get myself out of that. I'm like, don't listen to that shitty music, turn that off. No
Yeah.
pity party, man. Don't go there. Don't feel sorry for yourself. You can have those moments, like you say, take a moment to recharge, but don't go to those dark behaviors.
And Roy, with that said, this show goes by way too fucking fast,
It
and I
does,
know we
man.
have a couple minutes left. I just want to keep it
Yeah.
to a watchable length for everybody. I want to thank you, Roy, personally, for being my brother from another mother. I introduce you that way every single show. That's how it's supposed to be. We have some friends out there that we hear you, brother. We hear you. We want to pray for you. We know everything's going to be okay. And this show is for everyone out there. Please listen to our words. Please listen and get self-help and be self-aware. When you get that selfishness and that narcissistic path out of your system, it's okay to admit that you had some narcissism or had some selfishness. It's because people just don't know. All right. And when you're called out and you can take constructive criticism and you can sit back and say, holy fuck, I must have been selfish. I must have been having narcissistic actions. And people, if I'm having multiple people tell me the same thing in different words, then something must be happening that I'm not seeing. I must not be seeing correctly in the mirror. I'm seeing in my own mirror. I only see what I want to see, but I'm not seeing exactly the reality mirror. So that reality mirror can't be cracked or broken, ladies and gentlemen, for the 680th time after me saying that. I need you guys to understand that this show really does care about our fans. I don't care if we have 50 fans. I don't care if we have 1,000, 100,000 fans. I care about every single person that's subscribed to this page and that watches our show from episode 1 up to here, episode 6, because Roy and I have been through a lot to get to this level. And I'm just very proud of where we're at right now at episode 6. It's only going to get better. We're only going to evolve. And this isn't the first or last episode of our mental health special edition. So, Roy, with that said, brother, any final statements before we exit out of this amazing show we had today?
Sure, everybody has faults. So when you get mad at somebody, remember this, and you judge somebody, remember this. Cast the first stone if you are perfect. So before you want to rip somebody a new one and tell them off and kick their ass and really just go ballistic, remember this. Look in the mirror first and ask yourself, am I perfect? Do I have any flaws? And then ask yourself, do I really want to go tear this person a new one right now?
Right.
That's all. That's all. That's all I got to say.
So this round of applause, Roy, goes to you, goes to everyone out there watching the show, goes to everyone out there battling with mental health. You will survive. You will make it through. But the only way you're going to do it, this is my final thought, and then we're going to close out the show. And I just want to first and foremost say thank you to all you guys coming in listening to this show, because without you, we are nobody on this show. And thank you guys, and thank you for listening. And with that said, I'm telling you right now, ladies and gentlemen, for the 740th time me saying that, I just want you guys to pat yourself on the back, put a smile on your face, and understand that people do love you and people do care. Just don't push out the people that feed the hand that feeds, and don't push the people away that truly care about you, because you're going to push away the wrong people and you're going to be put into a group that you don't want to be put into. Things happen fast. So with that said, Roy, it's been an honor. It's been a great show. Roy Herman, go ahead and shout out
I
your
love you, brother.
love you too, man. And go ahead and shout out your article real quick so everyone
Oh,
can
okay.
check it
Well,
out.
thank you so much. If you're in the Boston area, okay, the New England area, and you're going to a Red Sox game, please pick up a copy of the Yawkey Way. It's Yawkey report. Sold by Beantown Collectibles, Gate C Media. They're all around the streets. $3 an issue. I've written 2 articles that are in there. One about the Red Sox ace, and who it was gonna maybe be, and who it is, and then 6 bios of. I'm sorry, 8 bios of players right now currently on the roster. You can learn more about them.
That's amazing. So with that said, Roy, congratulations on that. Keep in contact with us, ladies and gentlemen, at HJC Media Group. I'm Rob Eggers. That's Roy Herman. This has been an amazing episode 6. We'll see you on episode 7. You've been watching House Jack City's Backstage Sports Edition. We'll see y'all. Take care. God bless.